I have 8 warrior goddess sisters. Chapter 1, A Call for Help from My Son. Hello, Yarn Suling, is this your mother, Yarn Suling? Who is this? Son? Is this Ba Tian? Is this Tian Ba? Can you come to save Ba Tian and Uncle? Wuwu. Wuwu. They are hitting Ba Tian hurts, he's really scared. Uncle's been taken away too. In the phone, their voice was filled with terror. The broken, intermittent words were enough to show that the boy was in a dangerous environment, and his heart was full of fear. Ba Tian, little one, did you dial the wrong number? No, Uncle told me this number yesterday. My uncle's name is Yarn Suzhong. Aren't you my mother, Yarn Suling? I am Yarn Suling. I am Yarn Suling. Mom, please come save us. I can't talk anymore, the bad guys who are hitting Uncle are here, please hurry. I didn't make the call. I'm too scared. Boom. This was a call Yarn Suling, the first goddess of war on Pandora, received 5 minutes ago from the battlefield at the border of the Moya Kingdom and Langtu Nation. In the first era of Pandora, the Black Shark organization from Langtu was becoming increasingly restless, planning to cross the border to subvert and plunder Moya for years. At 37 years old, Yarn Suling, the female war god, had just led her forces Wuwu sect and the battle team to wipe out Pandora's largest dark force, the Black Shark organization. Just as she was about to light a white peppermint cigarette, she received a phone call from a boy in tears. Ba Tian. At first, Yarn Suling thought it was a wrong number, but when the boy with a crying tone mentioned her and Yarn Suzhong's names, she was immediately shocked. Yarn Suzhong was 33 years old this year. When naming him, his father, Yarn, gave him the name Zhang Loyal, symbolizing loyalty to the country, to the family, and to oneself. The Yarn family had 9 siblings, and Yarn Suzhong was the youngest son. His 8 older sisters were known as their 8 golden flowers. 5 years ago, Yarn Suling, the 8th sister, enlisted in the army. Now, this sudden phone call had sent a shock through her. When she tried calling back, the line just beeped, with no connection. She tried 3 times before reluctantly putting down the phone, but she was now certain that the call was a distress signal from her son Ba Tian. And the phone had been shattered in the process. At the border of Langtu Nation and Moya Kingdom, the wind blew, stirring the dry grass. The soldier's blade, stuck in the sand, vibrated in the wind, making a chilling sound. Yarn Suling's eyes narrowed. Her gaze became sharp, and the deadly look in her eyes could have killed a group of ferocious dinosaurs. She grabbed the soldier's blade from the ground, her murderous aura exploding. She raised her arm, and in an instant, the blade struck down. In the air, the flash of the blade shimmered. With a loud bang, the head of a stone figure beside her fell. Without hesitation, Yarn Suling surged forward, racing down the mountain with the speed of the Wuwu sect's elite. She jumped into an off-road jeep, and her loyal bodyguards from Wuwu sect followed her, getting into the vehicle with quick reflexes. Drive. Yes. Yangjie. Faster. Faster. Get to Moya Kingdom, Jiangshui City, as quickly as possible. Before the words were fully out of her mouth, the jeep was already 5 kilometers away from the battlefield. Find it. Trace this long-distance number, find its current location. Quickly. Activate the Wuwu sect satellite for real-time monitoring of Jiangshui City in Moya. After getting in the vehicle, Yarn Suling didn't stop. She immediately shouted orders at her bodyguards, and when she mentioned using the satellite for surveillance, her eyes were red from the tears. A mother knows her child best, and at that moment, Yarn Suling couldn't stop the tears that rushed out. The emotional dam of the female war god had burst. As the jeep sped down the road, the 2 bodyguards sitting in the front saw Yarn Suling crying uncontrollably, and they were shaken to their core. This was no trivial matter. The urgency was unimaginable, and the 2 bodyguards didn't dare to hesitate for even a second. Wuwu sect's Qi Xiaoqian quickly took the number Yarn Suling had thrown to him, using it for positioning. Wuwu sect's Mu was driving, and the vehicle's speed was pushed to its maximum, surpassing 200 km per hour. At the border, along the Desert Ruins Road, 3 jeeps sped toward Wuwu sect's 3rd battle station, where a Wuwu sect helicopter was stationed. In the first jeep, Yarn Suling couldn't hold back her emotions. Her body trembled, and her breath was rapid. All her feelings exploded at once, tears flowing non-stop. She was now certain that the crying boy who had called for help was her son, and the person mentioned was her younger brother, Yarn Suzhong, who had been captured. Her younger brother, Yarn Suzhong, the only son of the Yarn family, and her own flesh and blood her son Ba Tian had both been captured. Her heart was on the brink of exploding. Yarn Suling couldn't hold it in any longer. She let out a mournful scream, filled with hatred, anger, and overwhelming guilt. The two bodyguards, hearing the terrifying scream from the front, were shaken to their very souls. Wuwu Sek's Ji Xiaoqian's hands trembled as he pressed the gas pedal down harder, speeding the jeep even faster. In that moment, the sky seemed to explode with thunder. It was the surge of Yarn Suling's aura, shooting up into the clouds. The dark clouds above parted as her rage tore through them like a thunderstorm. Yarn Suling was originally from a prestigious family in Moyer, the Yarn family, known for their loyalty for generations. She had originally planned to serve her country through the arts, but when she graduated at 30, she met Yi Beixian's father, Yi Xiao. Their life had been full of hope and joy. In the second year of their marriage, Yarn Suling gave birth to Ba Tian in the largest obstetrics and gynecology hospital in Jiangshui City, Moyer. She still remembered the day clearly. Yi Xiao had driven her to their hospital, joking about how Ba Tian was a gift from heaven for both of them. Little did they know, misfortune struck that very day. Yi Xiao died in a car accident on their way to their hospital. The car exploded, and his body was never recovered. Life and fate had played another cruel joke on Yarn Suling. From then on, she poured all her emotional attachment into Ba Tian. Despite appearing calm on the outside, her longing for her late husband never faded. When Ba Tian turned 1, Yarn Suling made a decision to enlist and leave Jiangshui City. There were two reasons for her decision. The most important was her son. As a mother, she wanted to make a long-term plan for his life. A parent's love for their child is always for the future. And her younger brother was well suited to be a milk uncle. Chapter 2, The Battle Goddess Sister's Heartache. Before the age of 30, Yarn Suling's life was simple and uncomplicated. Living in the ivory tower, Yarn Suling was on a fast track, studying at the most prestigious university in Mo-Ya country, Mobe University. The Yarn family had a long history of loyalty and honor, and as part of this aristocratic family, Yarn Suling never expected her life to change drastically at the age of 30. Her boyfriend from university suddenly broke up with her, and to make matters worse, her mother fell seriously ill, causing Yarn Suling, who had never been emotionally strong, to collapse. Growing up in a honeypot, Yarn Suling never imagined that life's blows could be so harsh. She fell into a deep slump until she met Ba Tian's father, Yi Xiao. After meeting him, the darkness in Yarn Suling's life seemed to lift, and she saw a long-awaited ray of light. Perhaps life was like that: when one door closed, another would open. After meeting Yi Xiao, Yarn Suling's mood, which had been so dark and terrible, completely changed. She successfully completed her graduation thesis and found herself once again in the embrace of love. The following year, Yarn Suling settled down in Jiangshui City. For her, everything she had been longing for seemed to fall into place, and life became sweet and even a little bit blissful. With a stable career and a happy family, Yarn Suling believed that she was the happiest woman in the world. Without a doubt, she was the only one. Har har har. However, the intelligence of a woman fades as the flower of love blooms and withers all too quickly. The death of her husband dealt a huge blow to Yarn Suling. She couldn't believe that the person she had been talking to on the phone just moments before could be gone in an instant. Life and fate had played another cruel joke on her. After her son's birth, no major disaster occurred, no sickness, no major troubles, just peaceful days. Perhaps the fact that her son grew up healthy was the only comfort in Yarn Suling's otherwise uneventful life. Watching her son grow day by day, from learning to nurse at 3 days old, to turning his head for a photo at 3 months old, and then, at 7 months, beginning to toddle, this gave Yarn Suling something to hold on to. During the day, she took care of her child. Her young son required a lot of attention: feeding, changing, and cleaning. Everything needed her focus. For Yarn Suling, the death of her husband remained a deep wound in her heart. At night, because of the constant mental strain, she relied on sleeping pills for months. When her maternity leave ended and she returned to work, she was still emotionally absent. One day, she even fainted from low blood sugar at her workplace. At work, her son, Ba Tian, was taken care of by her younger brother, Yarn Suzhong. Yarn Suzhong, the only son of the Yarn family, was almost 30 and still unmarried. "Big sister, you can't go on like this. Your health is the most important thing." Yang Suzhong said as he held Ba Tian in front of her hospital bed. Health is important, yes. But I miss Ba Tian's father. Yang Suling murmured, tears silently streaming down her face. Yang Suzhong sighed deeply. He knew that his big sister, Yang Suling, might soon lose her job. From Yang Suzhong's perspective, nothing was permanent in life. People, like ants, were born and died in the blink of an eye. Why not live a little more happily? Yi Xiao, Ba Tian's father, had a short and tragic life. He had just gained a baby boy, only to lose his life in a car accident. Some people sacrifice themselves for their careers, but Yi Xiao's death didn't seem to be the heroic act that others might consider it. Big sis, don't sigh. Don't worry about it. This time, Ba Tian has caused you some trouble again. Yang Suling said from her hospital bed. No trouble. No trouble at all. Yang Suzhong replied, who told me that I'm Ba Tian's uncle? Who told me I'm your warm-hearted younger brother? Yang Suzhong sighed because he overheard in the hospital's payment hall that his sister might be terminated from her job. To be terminated meant to lose her livelihood. As he thought about it, Yang Suzhong's expression stiffened. He suddenly felt something warm on his thigh. Looking down, Yang Suzhong squinted his eyes and saw his nephew, Yi Ba Tian, sitting on his lap, smiling contently, still urinating. In an instant, Yang Suzhong's gloomy mood disappeared. I told you, Ba Tian, this is the third time today you've peed without giving me a heads up. Uncle is living a life of floating water. Yang Suzhong chuckled. For Yang Suzhong, it was a happy moment to see his nephew wet himself. Some people would love the opportunity to have their nephew wet his pants. His big nephew was healthy and strong, able to eat, drink, and most importantly, rarely cried. A month later, at the Yang family home. As soon as Yang Suling entered the house, she smelled the fragrance of food. Dropping her LV bag, she walked straight to the dining table and grabbed a piece of braised tofu skin to eat. Pig's head meat, tofu skin, along with cilantro and onions. This was the ultimate meal. No, wait, it was the life of the gods. Yang Suzhong's life could be described as fortunate. To sum it up in one sentence, it was thanks to a few of his sister's pampering, but it also led to his downfall. Because of his sister's doting, Yang Suzhong had stopped studying after high school. He learned a trade, cooking. In the first half of his life, Yang Suzhong lived quite freely, indulged by his 8 sisters. He was able to go with the flow, doing whatever he wanted. The only bad thing: Yang Suzhong had never married. Chewing on the tofu skin, Yang Suling called into the kitchen, "Nine brother, it's cloudy today. How about making some green bean porridge? You won't get tired of eating braised pork every day, right? I'd get tired of it if I had to eat it every day at home. Big sis, as long as there's food, it's fine. You're so picky." From the kitchen came a grumbling voice. "You're 33 now. When are you going to get married? I've been playing the role of Ba Tian's mother for so long. Taking care of him all this time, and still no progress. I even changed my online name to Yi Ba Tian's uncle last week." Yang Suling smiled, chewing the tofu skin. "Nine brother, your cooking skills are great, you're almost a professional chef. I do love to cook, but the problem is, when I make food, you all don't eat it." Har. Har har. Yang Suzhong chuckled, a man of few words. Why not go to the kitchen and chop a few ingredients? Soon, Yang Suzhong, wearing an apron, came out of the kitchen with a dish. Yang Suzhong was almost 1.8 meters tall. Although he didn't pursue further education, his strong physique more than made up for it. He was the perfect example of the saying, simple-minded with strong limbs. He wore a blue plaid jacket, which seemed a bit mismatched with his stature, and the sleeves were too short. Yang Suling always complained about this plaid jacket, and today was no exception. Even though she knew that he only wore it at home and never when he went out, the truth was, this jacket had been bought by Chen Yingying. Chapter 3, Everyone Has a Responsibility. Yang Suling shook her head. She said, "Ninth brother. Can't you change to a bigger coat? Even a checkered one will do. Our Yang family isn't short of money for a coat. If not, I can give you some money." "Ninth sister, you don't understand. You don't understand. This is the warmth of first love," Yang Suzhong said, ignoring her and putting the pig head meat and other dishes on the table. He liked wearing this coat, especially when cooking at home. He often wore this checkered coat when cooking. At this moment, he didn't take off his coat. He just sat down and said, "Eat, eat. Every bit of money saved counts." And this coat was bought by Tian Ba. Ninth brother, you've been saying this for 3 years. 3 years ago, it was new, but 3 years later, is it still new? Yang Suling almost said that Tian Ba was already married. Yang Suling rolled her eyes. 3 years ago, she could understand when he said Tian Ba gave him a new coat. But 3 years later, Tian Ba was already old news, and he was still saying that. Her ninth brother really had the nerve to say that. Yang Suzhong, however, didn't mind. He dug into the pig head meat, eating it quickly as if his large nephew was going to take the food away. Yang Suling had long gotten used to it and wasn't bothered. As the youngest brother in the family, Yang Suzhong was always pampered by his 8 older sisters. As the 8th sister, Yang Suling naturally spoiled her 9th brother, turning a blind eye to his behavior. Yang Suling sat down by herself and sighed while eating. 9th brother, there's war going on again at the front lines, right? You always pay attention to current events. I just came back and saw the conscription vehicle downstairs. Are they recruiting soldiers here? I don't know if it's for the army or the navy. Yang Suzhong paused for a moment as he was eating and then quickly put down his chopsticks. He spoke seriously, defending the country is everyone's responsibility. Protecting our homeland is a duty. Yang family has always been loyal and brave. How could we shrink back? From the sound of it, you think being a soldier is good. Yang Suling raised an eyebrow. There's no such thing as good or bad, only right or wrong. As for me, Yang Suzhong, I should be defending the country and protecting our borders. Our family is known for loyalty, but... Yang Suzhong's emotions got stirred up. He knew very well that he couldn't go to the army. He was the only male in the family. His sisters either died on the battlefield or had already retired and were now taking care of their families. Only Yang Suling, who had always been studying, hadn't joined the military. Yang Suling hummed softly and then picked up her chopsticks to continue eating. As she ate, her tone became a bit heavier. 9th brother, the front lines are in turmoil again. Major military bases keep issuing conscription orders, recruiting new soldiers and calling back the veterans. Yang Suzhong stopped using his chopsticks for a moment, raised his head, and looked at his 8th sister. At that moment, Yang Suzhong's expression had changed. The carefree look was now replaced by a frown. He looked at Yang Suling with a furrowed brow. Sister. This doesn't really concern us, does it? Out of all the 9 siblings in our family, only you and I haven't served in the military. You need to take care of little Ba Tian, and I still haven't gotten married. The most urgent thing for me is to find a wife. And besides, they won't be recruiting from our family. Of the 9 siblings in our family, 7 of the sisters served in the military. Yang Suling let out a long breath. Yes, 7 of the sisters had served, and only she hadn't. Out of the Yang family's 8 sisters, 7 of us were soldiers. But I, Yang Suling, never served. The first 30 years of my life, I was studying, hoping to serve my country through literature. So I kept studying at Mo North University, the best school in Mo Ya country. Yang Suzhong's face changed slightly. 8th sister, our family doesn't have to go. This is our family rule. The Yang family can sacrifice everything for the country, but one person must stay behind to take care of the home and serve the elders. This is allowed. Yes, it's allowed. Yang Suling grinned and looked at her 9th brother. So you didn't go, but now my son is grown up. He's 1 year old. Little Ba Tian had grown up so fast. This baby, Ba Tian, was already 1 year old. 8th sister. Yang Suzhong's expression completely changed. What do you want to say? 9th brother Suzhong, you know what I want to say. Yang Suling looked at her son sleeping in Yang Suzhong's room. She felt a sense of comfort and happiness. She smiled and said, in the past 2 years, I may not have been of much use, but at least I have a doctorate and am an expert in mechanical manufacturing. When Ba Tian was still little, I had to stay at home to take care of him. I really couldn't leave. I could only work in Jiangshui City and take care of little Ba Tian. I had no choice, my child was so young. Yang Suling grinned bitterly. All 8 of us sisters from the Yang family, 7 of us served in the military. I'm not afraid of going to the army. I just wanted to arm myself with knowledge and serve my country with literature. Yang Suzhong fell silent. He had long known that his eighth sister had always been thinking about the front lines, always thinking about the glory of the Yang family. If it weren't for meeting Yi Xiao and having Ba Tian, she would have already joined the military and served the country. But he thought that Ba Tian was still young, and his eighth sister should stay at home and take care of him. She should forget about joining the army and let go of those thoughts. Today, his eighth sister was telling him that she couldn't let go. Eighth sister, Yang Suzhong's face turned pale. With the turmoil on the front lines, more and more soldiers are dying. Especially the Black Shark organization from Langtu country, which is like wild grass, never ceases to grow. 7 of our sisters have served in the military, you know what that means. I am not married yet, not married. I'm still waiting for you to prepare my wedding bed. Yang Suling grinned bitterly, it's all right, eighth sister is waiting. Do you think that if I go, it's just to die? I'm going to fight a victorious battle. I'm going to defend the country and bring glory to the Yang family. Sister. Eighth sister. Little ninth, stop talking nonsense and eat. Yang Suling interrupted her ninth brother. She continued eating while muttering, after this meal, you'll have to take care of Ba Tian yourself. I've already arranged an 18-year free education certificate for Ba Tian, it's under his pillow. Each month, I'll transfer 3/4 of my salary to the bank. The bank card is also under his pillow, and the password is your birthday. There's 3,000 yuan in the card now. The armored vehicle downstairs is still waiting for me. I can't delay too long. Ba Tian will be going to elementary school soon. Remember to write to me, I'll try to get the letters. Just send him to an ordinary school, Ba Tian is smart and will stand out anywhere. You see his big head, just like yours, my nephew takes after his uncle, he just don't let me down, remember, even if you're hungry, don't let Ba Tian go hungry. Can you believe how fast Ba Tian is growing? In the blink of an eye, he has already won. It's too fast, I almost suspect that he is eating too well. But thankfully, he looks just like me, all bright and healthy. Chapter 4, Determination is not defined by age. Yang Suling's words were thorough, taking all the people and matters into consideration. After hearing this, Yang Suzhong's face paled slightly. Upon hearing her words, he couldn't help but complain, eighth sister, are you sure that Ba Tian's intelligence won't follow his uncle? I've been studying up to high school. Nonsense. If he followed you, Ba Tian's life would be ruined. Ba Tian is my son, of course, his intelligence comes from me. He'll go on to the best university in Mo Ya country. But as for looks, he might take after you. Nephews take after their uncles, that's the way it is. Don't worry, their hard work is on you, old uncle. Yang Suling raised her head, showing her unembellished face, and grinned. Yang Suzhong had no energy left to complain. He realized that his eighth sister was changing the topic. He steered the conversation back, eighth sister, are you really going? It's not that I look down on you, but you're already 33 years old. You're no longer in school, and you're in no shape for it. What good would it do to go? Who are you looking down on? So what if I'm 33? Captain Jingyang became Mo Ya's first female captain at 35. Determination is not about age. Yang Suling snapped. So what if I have a bit of muscle? On the battlefield, it's not just about strength and a lean figure. If it were all about strength and slender figures, we'd all be fashion models instead of soldiers. On the battlefield, anything is possible. I'm a mechanical expert, I might even invent new weapons. Killing the enemy doesn't always happen on the front lines, sometimes it's about making decisive moves from far away. Yang Suzhong was frustrated. He wasn't sure if her words were true or not, but it was true that his eighth sister had been a mechanical major in school and had won awards. What she said wasn't entirely impossible. The problem was, he didn't want Yang Suling to go to the front lines. The situation on the front was increasingly dire, with many soldiers dying each year. It was only getting more dangerous. His eldest sister was already in her 30s, he couldn't bear the thought of her enlisting. Yang Suzhong had a million reasons not to want her to go, but the Yang family's tradition of loyalty made it hard for him to say anything. Sister. Shut up. Yang Suling cut him off, stood up, and started cleaning up the dishes. Usually, when she was at home, she would wash the dishes, but today, she didn't. She said seriously, I've already registered. If I don't go, I'll be a deserter. If you haven't registered, there's no problem, but once you've registered, you know what the consequences are. I can't be a deserter, I'd never survive. Can't we talk about this? Yang Suzhong was frustrated. At this point, he knew there was no way to change anything. As his eighth sister had said, if you haven't registered, it doesn't matter, but once you have, you're obligated to go. In Mo-Ya country, conscription wasn't mandatory for people in their 30s. These people were the pillars of their families. To survive and contribute to the family was also a way of contributing to the country. Protecting one's family was the same as protecting the nation. But once registered, it meant new recruits, and not going now would make them deserters. Ninth brother, what's there to discuss? Yang Suling said nonchalantly. Don't worry, I won't die. I'm a cat. Cats have 9 lives. Even if I die heroically, the compensation won't be small, and you'll be able to collect it. I've already written my will, and you'll be Ba Tian's legal guardian. If I die, you'll have to take care of him. The compensation will be enough for you to marry, have children, and send Ba Tian to school. I've thought of everything for you. Having said that, Yang Suling changed into sneakers and grabbed a backpack. She looked like she was just going on a long trip. She casually instructed, take good care of Ba Tian. Supporting the front line from the rear is the same. When Ba Tian grows up, tell him that Yang Suling is a hero. As the son of a hero, he must bring honor to the Yi family and the Yang family. Make sure to get that red flower at school. Red flower after I leave, you can brag all you want. My son got a red flower in school. It's much better than the others. She added. Such a pity, though. He's still so young. It'll be a few years before he's in school. And Mo-Ya country's military service lasts 5 years. During those 5 years, you can't come home or visit anyone. By the time Ba Tian starts school, I won't be around. But you can take a picture and send it to me with some dried vegetables and pickles. Otherwise, people will think I'm just boasting. Elder sister. Yang Suzhong hurriedly got up, chasing after her in panic. His elder sister was really leaving. For all these years, especially after Ba Tian's father, Yi Xiao, passed away in a car accident, Yang Suzhong had grown accustomed to living with his eighth sister and niece. He had been taking care of this pair of unfortunate mother and child. Or rather, they had been depending on each other. Now, his sister suddenly wanted to leave, and he wasn't prepared for it at all. You're over 30, an adult, not a child. Stop acting like a cat in heat. She's only 30. Yang Suling laughed lightly. If you weren't 30, if you were already married, I wouldn't leave. But now, I have to go. Suzhong, you know. I had a dream. I dreamt about Ba Tian's father, Yi Xiao. In the dream, he was crying and shouting in pain. I have to go fight. Otherwise, I can't live in Jiangshui City anymore. I can't stop thinking about Ba Tian's father, Yi Xiao. You know, only going to the battlefield will help me ease this longing. Let me leave this place and start over. Anyway, you can take care of Ba Tian now. I'm very relieved about that. You're a super uncle. Yang Suling's eyes reddened. I'm 33 this year, and if I don't go now, I'll be over the age limit. If I pass the age limit, Mo-Ya country won't accept me for conscription. Now, I have to go. To the border, to the battlefield. This time, I'll show the Yang family's strength. I'll kill a few of those Black Shark organization soldiers from Langtu country, and you'll have evidence to shut your mouth. With a wave of her hand, she stepped forward. For the first time in 3 years, Yang Suzhong saw his sister so carefree, so imposing. But this wasn't what he wanted to see. Elder sister. I told you, no more nonsense. Yang Suzhong stood at the door of the first floor, gritting his teeth. Suddenly, he shouted, if you don't come back, I'll send Ba Tian to the orphanage, to a rich family, and change his last name. I'll sever the connection between you and Yi Xiao's family. If you don't care, I'll do it. Yang Suling tripped on a step and almost fell. At that moment, she wanted to turn around and curse. She didn't want to leave anymore. She wanted to go home, shut the door, and beat up Yang Suzhong, her 9th brother, to death. This little brat was already 30, and he could really do something like that. Yang Suling knew her 9th brother very well. She had finally left something behind for Yi Xiao, but if she gave Ba Tian to someone else, changed his name, she wouldn't die content. Chapter 5, Border Plane Takes Off. Yarn Suling left, leaving freely and easily. Yarn Suzhong felt a little empty in his heart. Eighth sister Yarn Suling left without giving him any time to prepare. In the future, he will be a super uncle. On the one hand, he was worried about the safety of his eighth sister going to the army. On the other hand, Yarn Suzhong was also worried about the future life. You know, two people taking care of a child and one person taking care of a 1-year-old child are different concepts. Yarn Suzhong is used to the life of the three of them living under the roof of his elder sister and Ba Tian. Although the elder sister is nagging, but with one more person around, life is also quite lively. He is not used to the fact that he suddenly lives with Ba Tian and starts his life as an uncle. Sister, before you left, you didn't wash the dishes. Yarn Suzhong muttered, trying to make fun of the bitterness. Yarn Suzhong sighed. There are some things he doesn't want to think about. He can't help but get nervous when he thinks about them. The frontier battlefield was extremely dangerous. He was worried that he was overthinking and would chase his sister home. Yarn Suzhong was too lazy to wash the dishes and sat on the sofa in a daze. Before leaving, his sister kept telling him to take good care of Ba Tian and get a big red flower at school, but now. If you don't go to the frontier battlefield, but you insist on going to the border battlefield and the battlefield of Moya country, how can you make people worry less? You may not be able to come back in 5 years. Let Ba Tian and I worry about you every day in the rear. You are almost 40 years old. Don't you have any sense? Yarn Suzhong rubbed his temples and felt a headache. From then on, Yarn Suling went to the battlefield. From then on, Yarn Suzhong started his career as a grandma's uncle. Yarn Suzhong is both Yi Baishan's uncle and Yi Baishan's mother. There is no way, who made Yi Baishan's mother Yarn Suzhong's eighth sister. Yarn Suling was emotionally wounded, so she went to the battlefield. She wants to use the physical fatigue and hardship to forget the emotional hurt. She wants to have tremendous power and go back for revenge. Because the evidence shows that her husband Yi Xiao's car accident was man-made, and it was caused by the Dark Organization, the first Black Hand organization of Moya country, and the Dark Devouring organization of Dark Palace country. She wants to avenge Yi Xiao, Yi Baishan's father, and her husband. So she fought bloody battles all the way, and finally 5 years later, she established the Wuwu sect that made the entire Pandora planet tremble. She has 10 guardians, 20 warriors, and 3,000 strong men under her command. She already has the power of revenge and the power to investigate Yi Xiao's death. Originally, after destroying the Black Shark organization tonight, she planned to return, but suddenly received a call from her son Yi Ba Tian for help. Yarn Suling recalled her son's crying, fear and despair just now, and she felt an indescribable heartache and pain in her heart. My son Yi Ba Tian, and my brother and Yi Baishan's uncle, Yarn Suzhong, were all arrested and beaten. 5 years. It was me who hurt you and your uncle. Yarn Suling closed her eyes in agony, tears streaming down her face. She finally understood the call her son made tonight. She had hurt her ninth brother Yarn Suzhong and her son Yi Ba Tian even though she had joined the army. Yarn Suling's tears could not stop flowing down, and she thought of her son, whom she had not seen since he was 1 year old, calling her for help in such fear and terror. Yarn Suling's heart was already filled with endless sorrow. Are you? My mother Yarn Suling. Mom, come and save Ba Tian and Uncle. Uncle was beaten. Mom, Ba Tian is in pain, very painful. Ba Tian is scared. Uncle was beaten. Oh. R. Speed up. The son's cry for help kept echoing in Yarn Suling's mind. He is just in elementary school now, so young. R. At this moment, Yarn Suling was completely insane. The aura of the strong in her body could no longer be suppressed, and the dark clouds in the sky were making way for her at this moment. She was the world's first female war god, the biological son of the world's strongest organization Wumu, and her own brother Yarn Jodi. They were actually bullied like that. 10 minutes later, Yarn Suling and her group arrived at an airport at the border base. Yarn Suling took a fighter plane to the location where her daughter was asking for help at the fastest speed. The sound of the helicopter cutting through the atmosphere was full of uniqueness under the night sky. The night was getting deeper and deeper, and time was passing by. Yarn Suling was extremely anxious at this moment. She had never thought that her own son would be like this. How scared he must be to cry like that. She had never thought that her ninth brother Yarn Suzhong would be arrested and beaten. Yarn Suzhong, Her ninth brother, the ninth brother that Yarn Suling had always loved and cared for in her heart. 2 hours passed quickly, and it was 12 o'clock in the middle of the night. In a large villa yard in the suburbs of Jiangshui City, several yellow-haired men were holding sticks and beating a young man with glasses lying on the ground. His name was Wen Hai. The young man with glasses was beaten with blood all over his body and screamed. In the distance, there was a little boy less than 1 meter tall kneeling on the ground. Yang Julan Yang Suzhong, tied to the jujube tree outside the yard, was already bloody. The boy begged bitterly to a white-haired man in black clothes beside him. "Uncle Fat, please. Please don't hit brother Wen Hai anymore. He didn't give me the phone. I stole it myself. I stole the phone myself. Uncle Fat, please. Don't hit me anymore, don't hit me." The little boy knelt on the ground and begged the fat man beside him. At this moment, the little boy's face was red from crying. I saw his 2 eye circles, like panda eyes, and it looked like he hadn't slept for at least 2 days. The right side of the little boy's face was swollen badly. The yellow top on his body had been washed yellow and white. The faded blue jeans had a big hole as big as a finger at the knee. It looked tattered and covered with mud, and her face was extremely pale. "Hee, you don't know the rules. Today I will tell you the rules. It is natural to pay back debts. Dare to act wild in Mr. Zhao's chassis. If you, Yang Suzhong of the Yang family, don't send 300,000 today, I wonder what will happen. The Yang family has its own business. But you, a young college student, dare to bring a cell phone in, you deserve to be beaten to death. Don't you have any rules?" The few people around the little boy were furious at the moment. Especially the leading guy, their fat uncle, was unmoved and had no intention of asking his men to stop. The next moment, the leading fat man in black turned around. He looked at Wen Hai, who was beaten, and said, "You are kind, right? Don't forget your agreement with us. We have already given you the tuition for your college, but you gave the cell phone to that little bastard without knowing the consequences. If you want to die, I will grant your wish." The boy named Wen Hai was only 22 years old, and was a college student at Jiangshuacheng Vocational School. He was one of the subordinates of Mr. Zhao, and was hired to take care of the little boy. But after a few days, he saw that this group of scum actually let the little boy live in a dog pen and eat slop. Especially, the little boy's uncle was also beaten and arrested. As a new youth of the new era, Wen Hai couldn't bear it. He knew that it was the uncle of the little boy who offended some people, and it seemed that it was because of a sum of money. Those people wanted to force the uncle of the little boy to surrender and take the money. So a white-haired man in black led those bad guys, caught him and the little boy's uncle. Chapter 6, Nephew is like a beam of light. After these few days of contact, Wen Hai also knew the miserable life of the little boy. Even before he was caught, his life was not very good. This child's name is Ba Tian. When Ba Tian was 1 year old, he lived with his uncle Yang Suzhong. Life seemed to play a joke on Ba Tian. Born in a wealthy family, Ba Tian seemed to live a sadder life as he grew older. Now, even if Ba Tian had not been caught, he would live like a beggar. His uncle is as a chef in a restaurant. He works part-time as a delivery man after work, but he doesn't make much money. Besides rent, water and electricity, uncle and nephew have other expenses every month. Add to that meals, extracurricular tutoring classes, etc., and there is no money left. So the clothes on Ba Tian were all given by kind people or picked up. The little boy told Wen Hai that his name is Ba Tian. His uncle is the best uncle in the world. He not only cooks and washes clothes for him, but also plays with him. It's just that his uncle borrowed money for the funeral of his grandmother, and since then, Ba Tian told him that he was very obedient and well behaved. Since his mother joined the army when he was 1 year old, he has been very cryless. Although Ba Tian is young, he often helps his uncle. He picks vegetables with his uncle in the kitchen, delivers takeout in the streets, and picks up bottles on the curb to sell for money. Sometimes his uncle would buy him beef and braised pork. Although he only buys it once in a long time, she is really very happy. The Zhao family's private residence is where Ba Tian and his uncle Yang Suzhong are imprisoned. During this period, the weather was fine, and the moon was dim at night. When the little boy stayed in the dog pen with the dog, he would look up at the stars in the sky. At that time, Wen Hai asked him curiously, Ba Tian, what are you looking at? Ba Tian smiled and said, Uncle said that the brightest star in the sky is Dad. Next to the brightest star is Mom, I am looking at Mom. Wan Hai asked puzzledly. Your dad? Yes, your dad had a car accident. You told me about my. Where is your mom? Where did your mom go? Why didn't she accompany you? Why do you live with your uncle? The little boy said, my uncle said that my father went to another world to perform a mission. Mom is still in this world. She occasionally calls, but it takes half a year or a year. Mom went to defend her country, which is a very far place. Mom went to the army to earn money, but the signal there is not good. Sometimes it takes half a year or more than a year to call home with a good signal. Uncle said that mom is also very hard working and tired. When she earns money in the army, she will come back to find Ba Tian. That night, Ba Tian in the dog circle looked serious. The little boy Ba Tian seemed to have no worries. When he said this, he smiled at Wan Hai. Wan Hai, a literary youth, was emotional. He was stunned when he heard Ba Tian's words. At that time, Wan Hai's tears flowed quietly. He subconsciously said, the battlefield is dangerous. Your mother may sacrifice. She has been killed. At that time, the little boy Ba Tian was angry and anxious when he heard the word sacrifice. Ba Tian said anxiously, no. Uncle said that mom is a great hero and the leader of Wuwu. My mom is called Suling. Uncle said that one day mom will drive a chariot to find Ba Tian and uncle. My mom will definitely come back. Ba Tian is so good, she must like Ba Tian too. Uncle works so hard, she will definitely come back to help uncle take care of Ba Tian. Wan Hai looked at the little boy Ba Tian with eyes full of hope and expectation. Ba Tian's eyes were like the brightest stars in the night sky. Perhaps, it was because he was a child. Ba Tian's eyes were as bright as the bright moon and stars. Seeing Ba Tian like this, his heart was so pure and clean that he could no longer suppress the sadness in his heart. So, Wan Hai took the risk and made a decision that he thought was a little crazy. Wan Hai took the risk of being beaten by those people led by the white-haired black-clothed man and secretly brought some food to the little boy and the child's uncle Suzhong. A few steamed buns, some water, no it's not much, but it's enough to survive. After Wan Hai let the little boy eat, he hid the rest. You can't eat this meal and not have the next meal. This uncle and nephew are like this. Survival is more important than anything else. Happy lives as similar unhappy lives have many differences. With the help of Wan Hai, Ba Tian and his uncle Suzhong spent a few days like this, living a miserable life without being hungry. And Wan Hai, he chatted with the little boy Ba Tian in the dog shed for a few days, and their feelings quickly warmed up. Suddenly tonight, the little boy Ba Tian was silent. The endless sky, a flash of lightning, actually passed. He looked at the dark and gloomy night sky and said, brother Wan Hai. Look at the sky. As the little boy Ba Tian spoke, tears flowed down. After a moment of silence, he said again, brother Wan Hai, there is a flash in the sky. Yes, it's lightning. The stars were driven away by lightning. Driven away. The stars are gone. Then my mother, isn't she? Isn't she heroic? Wan Hai's heart trembled when he heard this. So that's how it is. This little boy is not stupid. Really, this little boy Ba Tian is just like his name, smart and domineering. This Ba Tian really knows everything and knows everything. It is said that the children of Pandora are all precocious, and it seems to be true. The Ba Tian in front of him looks like he is only 7 years old, but he is so good at thinking. After a moment of silence, Wan Hai quickly wiped his tears and tried to control his emotions. Jiang Hai tried his best to control his turbulent emotions and keep his excited face stable. This literary youth even squinted his eyes and said to the little boy, Ba Tian, don't think about it. Your mother will definitely come back to save you, and will definitely come back to save your uncle. The little boy, Ba Tian, smiled miserably. Ba Tian bent down and flicked the mud off his shoes. Then, Ba Tian raised his head. He looked determined, shook his head expressionlessly and said, brother Wan Hai, don't lie to Ba Tian. In fact, Ba Tian has been gloomy since he was 1 year old. Mom will not come back. Ba Tian knew long ago that uncle lied to me. Otherwise, now the bad guys are bullying Ba Tian and taking uncle away. Why won't mom come back? Why hasn't the hero's mother come back yet? The little boy Ba Tian had a determined face. Such a young Ba Tian was already bearing such a huge pressure in life. For a moment, Wan Hai even felt that as an adult, he should live a good life and face the challenges and pressures in life positively. As an adult, Wan Hai should help Ba Tian, who was like a beam of light, and his uncle Suzhong, to get Ba Tian and his uncle out of the devil's cave. Ba Tian, he is really good. He is so sensible at such a young age, he is really smart and sensible, it's amazing. Ba Tian, with a wooden face, started to cry as he spoke. Chapter 7, 8th Sister Yarn Suling. Wan Hai sighed deeply and looked up at the vast sky. Wan Hai looked at the dark and gloomy sky. Is this the peaceful and prosperous era of Pandora Moya? Is it? She took a deep breath and suppressed the pain in her heart. Then, Wan Hai turned her head and looked at Ba Tian with tears in her eyes. Wan Hai forced out a little and said, Ba Tian, I didn't lie to you. Think about it, your mother is a great hero, the leader of Wuwu. She will definitely come back to save you and your uncle. She will. You are so sensible, and your mother is the leader of Wuwu. Mom will definitely save you, she will definitely save you and your uncle. Well, you should call your mother. Pandora Planet, Wuwu. Wan Hai only knew on the internet that there was a Wuwu that shocked Pandora Planet. But Wan Hai had no idea where Wuwu was really located and how powerful it was. He just knew that Wuwu had a set of skills in fighting against foreign enemies for many years. Especially when facing the invasion of the Howling Shark organization of Langtu country, Wuwu played a great role. It can even be said that it is precisely because of the existence of Wuwu and the banner of Wuwu that Moya country has been peaceful and prosperous for many years. Because of the existence of Wuwu, the situation of losing ground against the Black Shark organization of Langtu country on the border was reversed. The situation of Moya country's frequent defeats for many years was reversed. Yesterday, Wan Hai, who was reading foreign news, heard some news about Wuwu. Now Moya country and Langtu country are fighting on the border, and the two sides have entered a white-hot state. The mysterious leader of Wuwu personally went to the front line to command the battle. The comments at that time gave Wuwu a high evaluation and public opinion gave Wuwu a great chance to fight the Black Shark organization, the rival of Langtu country, with great support and encouragement. The child in front of him, Ba Tian, said that his mother was the leader of Wuwu. For a moment, Wan Hai was a little bit unconvinced. The dignified Wuwu sect has 10 guardians, 20 warriors, and 3,000 strong men. Is the mother of Ba Tian in front of him the leader of Wuwu sect? Wan Hai did not think much about it. It was such a difficult thing for him to be sensible. Wan Hai did not want his dream to be shattered at this moment. After all, the child and his uncle were tortured too much by the Zhao family's lackeys. If he could hold on to a hope, at least for this little boy Ba Tian, he had the hope of surviving and living. The environment in front of him was really too bad. At this moment, it was a good thing for Ba Tian to have the idea of mother saving him and his uncle for a while. Only by keeping faith can we resist hardship and misfortune. Only by maintaining an optimism in life can the haze of poverty and misfortune quietly slip away with the breeze of time. Call your mother. Wan Hai had just casually said that Ba Tian should call his mother. But Wan Hai did not expect that the little boy Ba Tian suddenly raised his head, and the dim light in his eyes became firm. Ba Tian did not speak for a long time. As if he had made a decision, he nodded firmly with a look of affirmation. Ba Tian said, well, I still remember my mother's phone number. My uncle always writes the phone number on the wall at the head of the bed in the bedroom at home. I remember my mother's phone number. It's best if you remember the phone number. If you don't remember it, it will be troublesome. Call for help. Good man. This Wan Hai is a good man. As a microcosm of the new era youth of Moya country, Wan Hai, although he only studied in an ordinary technical college, has been trying to make himself live like a beam of light. Let yourself live like a beam of light. No matter how bright or weak this dawn is, it can illuminate the way for people in the dark. Let yourself become a beam of light, enough to illuminate the direction of life for others. Wan Hai is simply a for good new youth. Uncle once told Ba Tian that my mother's mobile phone number is the third one on the wall. I remember that phone number, but I have never called my mother. Why? Don't you know how to call, Ba Tian? No, I know how to call. Uncle always said that my mother has no time. My mother is serving in the base, very tired and hard. Uncle said that we can't take the initiative to call my mother. But now my uncle is bullied and beaten by bad guys, and my mother doesn't come to help my uncle. Uncle said that when Ba Tian was not around, my mother loved my uncle the most. Brother Wan Hai, can you help me? Let me call my mother? Brother Wan Hai, should I call my mother? Of course. Of course. Brother Wan Hai, I am willing to help you. And, Brother Wanhai does not regret it. Of course, you should call your mother. The little boy Ba Tian took Wanhai's mobile phone, but did not press it. After waiting for a long time, he seemed to be thinking about the phone number, and seemed to be thinking about how to tell his mother. After all, Ba Tian had never called his mother before. Finally, after waiting for 3 seconds, Ba Tian seemed to be ready, took a deep breath, and pressed the first number button. Under the night sky, the mobile phone buttons shone with the light of hope. The sound of the mobile phone buttons, like a signal for help, slowly sounded under the night. So, the situation changed. Ba Tian's phone call and Ba Tian's call for help shocked the Pandora planet. Just a moment after the phone rang, the scene 2 hours ago happened. Life hits people with pain, and the young Wanhai gives them the warmth of life. Wanhai didn't want to see the little boy Ba Tian get hurt and bullied, and didn't want to see Ba Tian's uncle get bullied and beaten. So under Wanhai's guidance, that scene happened, and the little boy Ba Tian called his mother for the first time. And the little boy Ba Tian successfully finished what he wanted to say. He, Ba Tian, called his mother who was far away in the frontier and yarned Suling who was commanding the battle. The effect was very good, and the little boy was very happy. The only thing that made people dissatisfied was that Ba Tian was too happy. Because of Ba Tian's happiness and excitement, he soon revealed his identity because of his loud voice. This Ba Tian was really discovered by the Zhao family's lackeys in the yard without saying a word. The next scene was a familiar one. Wanhai's mobile phone in Ba Tian's hand was smashed. Then, after the mobile phone was smashed, Wanhai was pressed to the ground and received a lesson. The other party was cruel, but Wanhai didn't say a word, and Wanhai didn't scream. Although he was in pain, Wanhai felt that he was very comfortable in his heart. It only took a while to hit him with fists. For Wanhai, what he felt was that he had done the right thing. Even if he was beaten to death, Wanhai would not say a word. If you want to live like a beam of light, you must accept the scars of burning yourself like a candle to achieve others. This is the price, and it is also the so-called sacrifice. Only by sacrifice can you gain. Under the fists and feet of the hawks and dogs, Wanhai's mouth was bleeding soon. The other party was a cruel and evil person. Chapter 8, There is gold under a man's knees. Today, I'll let you trouble. Wanhai, I'll let you know why the flowers are so red. You kid, don't you want to be a good person? Today I'll let you see what the price of being a good person is. The white-haired man in black came over under the words of the hawks and dogs. In the yard, the white-haired man in black looked like the leader. When he came over, everyone made way for him. His name is Liang Shudao. Liang Shudao is the driver of the son of the Zhao family, and he is also one of the hawks and dogs. Wanhai was beaten horribly and was about to faint, but Liang Shudao was unmoved. Seeing that Liang Shudao had already beaten Wanhai to death, the little boy Ba Tian hurriedly begged for mercy. Wanhai was a good man, and the little boy Ba Tian couldn't let him die. If Liang Shudao died because of him, it would be a very bad thing for the little boy Ba Tian. At least, at the moment, it would make Ba Tian feel guilty. With a plop, Ba Tian knelt down. Seeing this scene, Wanhai's heart was broken. A man's knees are made of gold. A man can be killed but not humiliated. Wanhai shook his head, but couldn't make a sound. Ba Tian was able to kneel down for Wanhai, which was really touching for Wanhai. Wanhai didn't expect that the little boy Ba Tian would plead for him. Wanhai was beaten too hard, and the pain was too weak for a while, so he couldn't speak. You are still talking to yourself. What are you talking about? Said the white-haired man in black. At this time, 2 scarred men stepped forward and came over. Boss. I don't know what he is talking about. Anyway, it's hard to hear what he is talking about at this time. Boss, how about killing him? Liang Shudao, the white-haired man in black, waved his hand. Ba Tian continued to plead, Uncle, don't hit me. Uncle with white hair, don't hit me. It's all Ba Tian's fault. I won't dare to do it again. Liang Shudao, who hadn't thought about how to teach Wanhai a lesson, frowned at this time. Liang Shudao walked to Wanhai and spit. With the Zhao family as a backing and the support of Zhao Qian, the son of the Zhao family, Zhao Qian walked sideways throughout Jiangshui city. The Zhao family is a big family in Jiangshui city. As the driver of Zhao Qian, the son of the Zhao family, Liang Shudao can be said to be very arrogant. Liang Shudao still has several cases that the city's special guards have to deal with. Liang Shudao is ruthless and has won the trust of the young master of the Zhao family. Tonight is the deadline Liang Shudao gave Yarn Suzhong. When he just came over, Liang Shudao had already released Yarn Suzhong. He released Yarn Suzhong so that he could go home and get the money. If they don't pay, Yarn Suzhong and Yi Ba Tian will not have a good life. In the young master of the Zhao family, there is only profit. And this Liang Shudao is the loyal flying eagle running dog who guards their house for the young master of the Zhao family, Zhao Qian. When Liang Shudao heard the little boy's words, his eyes turned. In an instant, Liang Shudao pointed to the dog shed next to him. Liang Shudao said, "You, Yi Ba Tian, are really loyal. You don't have to beat him, then just go and eat up the dog food. Are you going to eat? Don't think I don't know. Wan Hai, this idiot, secretly gave you food." The little boy Yi Baishan's face turned pale in an instant. Yi Ba Tian glanced at the things in the dog bowl in the dog shed. Yi Baishan's body was instinctively frightened and he took a step back. In order to save Wan Hai, Yi Ba Tian endured. But there is a knife above the word endure. What does it feel like to have a knife hanging on your heart? But the next moment, Yi Ba Tian still gritted his teeth and walked into the dog shed. He bent down and picked up the dog bowl and ate the things in the dog bowl. Wan Hai, whose head was stepped on the ground, closed his eyes reluctantly. Tears flowed down Wan Hai's eyelids like a spring. What kind of world is this? This is the 18th prison in the world. R. The little boy Yi Ba Tian was crying, eating dog food and mumbling non-stop. He whispered, "My mother is a hero. Yarn Suling will come to drive the chariot to protect Ba Tian and protect my uncle. My mother is a hero. She will come to save Ba Tian, she will save my uncle." Hearing Yi Ba Tian mumbling in the dog shed, the white-haired black-clothed man Liang Shudao took a few steps forward. Liang Shudao, a twisted guy, didn't want the little boy Yi Ba Tian to have fun in misery. Liang Shudao was jealous of those little boys because his son was lost when he was 3 years old. Especially, those who are chubby or smart. This Liang Shudao is also a pitiful person. There must be possibilities for pitiful people. Liang Shudao walked to the side of Gopunzi and squatted down. He squinted his eyes and looked at the little boy Yi Ba Tian inside. He. He. Liang Shudao laughed loudly after listening to the little boy Yi Baishan's words. Liang Shudao said instantly, ha ha, your mother died a long time ago, she won't come to save you. The little boy Yi Ba Tian shook his head and cried, No. My mother is not dead, not dead. Asshole. If your uncle doesn't bring the money. If you obey the young master of the Zhao family, you will die. In fact, it's good to die. After that, Liang Shudao ignored Yi Ba Tian and stood up by himself. At this time, Liang Shudao thought of his child again. His son was lost when he was 3 years old. Now his life and death are uncertain. As a father, Liang Shudao couldn't sleep every night. In order to relieve the pain of missing his son, he had to drink 2 taels of white wine to sleep every day. As time goes by, now he has to drink a pound every night to fall asleep. Thinking of his son, Liang Shudao turned around. Now, he leaned against the dog shed, with 2 lines of tears flowing from the corners of his eyes. The increasing longing for his son made Liang Shudao psychologically distorted, and he looked down on others who were better than him. Once he had the chance, he would do everything he could to torture those children. Because he lost his son, he didn't want other children to live a happy and fulfilling life. Liang Shudao murmured, "It will be better after death. That way, it will be over, and there will be no need to suffer, right?" After saying that, Liang Shudao turned around. With a tear on his face, Liang Shudao changed his look to a fierce and evil one. "Boy. You are fine. If you, after death, you can also find your mother." Yi Ba Tian was so angry that he stomped his feet. He, Yi Ba Tian, would go to the place of death. Yi Ba Tian would wait for his mother to save Ba Tian, and wait for his mother to save his uncle. Yi Ba Tian raised his head and shouted with all his strength, "My mother will not ignore me and my uncle. She will definitely come to save Ba Tian, and will definitely come to save my uncle. He. You'd better not be too confident," Liang Shudao said coldly. At this time, Liang Shudao, the white-haired man in black, was excited. Chapter 9, Mom drives an armored vehicle. Yi Ba Tian was not convinced at all. The more unyielding Yi Ba Tian was in front of him, the more fun Liang Shudao found it. It seems that he met a long-lost rival today. Yi Ba Tian. Liang Shudao stretched out his hand and combed his hair. At this moment, Liang Shudao wanted to continue to attack the little boy Ba Tian. It was at this time that a loud noise suddenly came from the gate of the villa. Bang! The wall of the Zhao family villa was pushed down. Liang Shudao, who had not stood firmly, staggered in fear and sat on the ground. Fuck him. Fire the cleaner tomorrow. Let him go home to raise pigs. What the hell? He can't even clean up well, and there is a stone on the ground, which is placed on my asshole. Liang Shudao cursed. The next moment, the wall of the Zhao family villa was destroyed. Immediately afterwards, an armored vehicle rushed in forcefully. The villa of the young master of the Zhao family is worth 100 million. Just like this, in an instant, the wall was pushed down by an off-road armored vehicle. Hearing the loud noise, the hawks and lackeys guarding the Zhao family villa were shocked. The lights of the Zhao family villa were all turned on instantly. For a moment, the entire villa was exposed to a sea of lights. The cost and installation of the lights in the entire Zhao family villa alone cost 5 million. Liang Shudao sat on the ground, scolded the cleaner for not cleaning the yard, and was instantly confused. Who is it? Too arrogant. This person is even more arrogant than the first Zhao family in Jiangshui city. So arrogant, dare to drive a field armored vehicle to appear in the Zhao family villa? Behind the car, there are 10 tanks. The loud noise when the armored vehicle pushed the wall of the mansion also scared the little boy Ba Tian pale. Ba Tian subconsciously raised his head. He glanced at the car, which was an off-road armored vehicle, the kind of car that his uncle often said mom drives, an off-road armored vehicle. The next moment, Yarn Suling, dressed in military uniform, jumped off the armored vehicle. Yarn Suling, who was furious, did not come alone. After the armored vehicle she was riding in stopped and turned off, 10 more track tanks drove over and stopped. As Yarn Suling scanned the 10 surroundings, 10 uniformed guardians jumped off the 10 tanks behind her. Among these 10 temporary guardians, there were 2 of the top 10 in Wumu sect, Yimu and Qin Xiaoqian. Wu Ba, Yimu, Wu Qi, and Qin Xiaoqian. These 2 had been following Yarn Suling to command the front-line operations, so they followed the sect leader Yarn Suling here. In Wumu sect, nothing is more important than the safety of the sect leader Yarn Suling. Mom. Ba Tian smiled. At this moment, for some reason, a thought flashed in Ba Tian's mind. Maybe this is the mother-son connection. The little boy Ba Tian was sure that Yarn Suling was his mother the first time he saw her. Ba Tian felt a strong warmth in his heart and smiled subconsciously. Then, the little boy Ba Tian shouted, Mom! Mom is here to save Uncle, to save Ba Tian. Yarn Suling, who had just got off the armored vehicle, was in a hurry. Yarn Suling, who was wearing a night vision helmet on her head, was about to find someone when her body suddenly trembled violently. Yarn Suling stared blankly at the dog shed not far away. The child in the dog shed, his figure, was so much like Ba Tian, his height and eyes, eyebrows and nose were exactly the same. Ba Tian. Ba Tian. You. When Yarn Suling saw her son's situation clearly, she was stunned for a moment. As a mother, Yarn Suling, who loves her son deeply, almost fainted as if she had received an electric shock. 2 lines of blood and tears flowed from Yarn Suling's eyes instantly. This scene is too shocking. It was so shocking that Yarn Suling almost couldn't bear it. Har har har. Har 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 har. Mom. You come to save Ba Tian. Mom. You come to save Uncle. Ba Tian is very happy, very happy. Uncle has finally waited for a long time this time. Mom, Ba Tian, miss you so much, Uncle, miss you so much. Inside the dog shed, Ba Tian clapped his hands happily. The little boy, Ba Tian, was smiling innocently and talking happily. For many days, Ba Tian was very hungry. Ba Tian had not had a good rest, and he had been relying on willpower to support his body. If it weren't for the longing to see his mother that sustained Ba Tian, he would have been dead, as the bad guy Liang Shudao said. Maybe he was sick or dead, or gave up hope of life. At this moment, because of excessive excitement, Ba Tian was in a coma. Ba Tian's body fell backwards uncontrollably at this moment. Extreme joy and extreme sorrow are all manifestations of bad emotions. No matter what's going on. For Ba Tian, he is currently under a lot of pressure. It was the great pressure that made the little boy Ba Tian, who was not able to bear it, really faint. Yarn Suling was in great pain at this moment, and her back was extremely painful. Yarn Suling roared, and her aura exploded. Mother Yarn Suling punched the man next to the dog shed with a bloody hole. Then Yarn Suling jumped directly into the dog shed and hugged the little boy Yi Ba Tian. Yarn Suling hugged her 6-year-old son Yi Ba Tian tightly in her arms. In the dog shed, the female warrior Yarn Suling stood straight. Mother Yarn Suling said to the little boy with tears of blood, "Don't be afraid, Ba Tian. Don't be afraid, Ba Tian. Mom is here, Mom is here. Ninth brother, I'm back. Ninth brother, I am late." Since Yi Ba Tian was 1 year old, Yi Ba Tian lived with his uncle. Yi Ba Tian, who had never seen his mother since he was 1 year old, saw Yarn Suling, his mother at this time. Mom came to save Yi Ba Tian, to save his uncle. Yi Ba Tian was very excited to see his mother at this time. The little boy Yi Ba Tian looked at Yarn Suling, slowly closed his eyes completely, with a happy face. This child fainted, but even so, he still had a happy smile on his face. R. Yarn Suling raised her head and roared 3 times silently to the sky. She opened her mouth wide, and although the roar was silent, it was indeed extremely sad. It can be said to be extremely sad. Yarn Suling's eyes were filled with blood and tears. Yarn Suling thought of her son's experience and her 9th brother's situation. All this made Yarn Suling extremely angry. The next moment, Yarn Suling's body shook, and a mouthful of blood suddenly spurted out. Her consciousness also fell into the endless abyss at this moment. The endless abyss was extremely dark. Even though it was under the shining starlight, Yarn Suling was unconscious, but she still held her son. At this moment, Yarn Suling was simply a sculpture. Mother Yarn Suling hugged her son Yi Ba Tian tightly. Protecting her son, protecting her son, protecting. At this moment, the 10 guardians of Wu Mumen could no longer watch. Wu Ba Yemu and Wu Qi Qin Xiaoqian took a step forward at the same time. Wu Qi supported the master of the sect, fearing that something would happen to the master of the sect. At this time, Wu Ba Yemu was furious. Wu Ba Yemu raised his head and said, "Destroy this villa. Flatten this villa for me." As Wu Mu Men's Wu Ba, he was so angry when he saw Yarn Suling and the young master like this. As Wu Mu Men's Wu Qi Qin Xiaoqian couldn't help it either. Wu Qi rushed to the lackeys in the yard. In just a short moment, the 6 or 7 lackeys in the villa were knocked to the ground. It was easy to wipe out these people. In front of Wu Mu Men, they were like ants. Even if ordinary Wu Mu Men strongmen took action, only 3 moves were enough to kill these people. Under the Osmanthus tree, Wang Hai, who was injured on the ground, smiled at this moment. When he saw that Baishan's mother really arrived, he was so excited that he fainted. Yi Ba Tian, this child, is a happy child, he did not lie. You are right, Ba Tian. Your mother is a great hero, she will drive an armored vehicle to save you and your uncle. Ba Tian, Ba Tian. This was the last sentence Wang Hai wanted to say but didn't say before he fainted. Chapter 10, The First Affiliated Hospital. Jiangshui City. The First Affiliated Hospital of Jiangshui in the northern suburbs is the largest hospital in the entire Jiangshui City. Located in Jiangshui City, the First Affiliated Hospital of Jiangshui is famous for 2 things. First, it can cure many diseases. Second, the cost of treating diseases is very high. Just like a person, this First Affiliated Hospital of Jiangshui City has some things that make people hate it and some things that make people hate it. In fact, no matter what, the matter of curing diseases and saving lives still depends on the First Affiliated Hospital of Jiangshui City. Zhang Suling and her son Yi Ba Tian were lying on the hospital bed. Yi Ba Tian looked like a beggar. Dr. Huer had just treated them and their son. Both of them were suffering from the disease caused by shock and were in a coma at the moment. In comparison, the problem of this child was more serious. What was the situation that made this little boy child living such a life? The mother and son in front of her gave people a visual sense that was too contrasting. As the director of internal medicine who had practiced medicine for many years, Watson never thought that Yi Ba Tian was so miserable. Dr. Huer knew that Yarn Suling and Yi Ba Tian were mother and son, but she was shocked to see such a pair of patients in front of her. The mother in front of her had a very strong fighting spirit. However, what she felt between her eyebrows was indeed a feeling of pity and endless helplessness. Because this mother, her face was still covered with tears. Why? What happened to this mother and son? What did they experience? In this world, which mother does not love her children? As a doctor, Watson also loves her children very much. But why is this little boy in front of her like this? Forget it, I'd better wash this little boy first. Watson said, and turned to go out. At this time, the number of nurses in the hospital was basically half gone. In the corridor, Dr. Watson met Nurse Li. Nurse Li, her name is Li Shufang. She is 42 years old and works as a nurse in the hospital. She is a warm-hearted person. Nurse Li, you are here. I have a patient here who needs to be cleaned. I want to lend you your hospital gown for her to change into. The child is too young, and it is not suitable for adults to wear. Okay. I'll get it for you. Forget it, you should come with me and take a look. I guess there is no suitable one. Li Shufan said. Yes, this patient's hospital gown basically has two styles. Look at me, why don't you remember this? So, you can help me go to my home and change my child's clothes. I don't know, are you busy? Not busy. I just finished caring for a patient and did the current work. Not busy at this time. I'm not busy. After saying that, Dr. Watson handed the key of his house to Nurse Li. At this time, Wu Yimu came over after paying the hospital outpatient fee. Seeing Dr. Watson, Yimu was shocked. Excitement is not enough to describe it. Dr. Huer in front of him has such good medical ethics. In Yimu's opinion, it is very remarkable. Doctors are not only good at medical skills, but also shocking in other aspects. Ba Tian was locked up in the dog shed, which is of great significance. Today's incident is of extraordinary significance to the Wuwu sect. In Wu Ba thought that this matter was not only about the family of Yarn Suling, the leader of the Wuwu sect, but also about the entire Wuwu sect. The only son of the leader of the Wuwu sect was locked in a dog shed. Think about it, what is this matter? This is no longer a matter of one person, but a face problem for the entire Wuwu sect. Thinking of this, Wu Ba was extremely angry for a while. At this moment, Dr. Watson's voice sounded. Sir, the patient and the child are fine now. I am preparing to clean the child. You'd better not enter the ward now. Watson said to the doctor. Okay. Doctor, my leader and my little master are not in trouble, right? Yimu said. Yimu looked very nervous. How could he not be nervous? Such a big thing was enough for Yimu to feel terrified. How could such a thing happen to the dignified Wuwu sect without a fight? At the same time, Wu Qi was in the Zhao family villa. The Zhao family villa was surrounded by 10 tanks at this moment. At this moment, the Zhao family was no longer an ordinary villa. For a while, the villa area of the Zhao family became a battlefield. Fortunately, this villa was in the suburbs. 10 tanks guarded a villa. How big is this villa to be guarded by these 10 tanks? I have been in the Liangshu road of the Zhao family, but I heard that this villa was built. Villa, costing hundreds of millions of Moya currency. Liang Shudao limped away from the Zhao family villa, so scared that he didn't dare to look back. He didn't dare to look back until he walked 1 kilometer away. Today's scene is really too big. It seems that Liang Shudao is still afraid to open his crotch at this moment. It's really big and exciting. A fight, even tanks were sent. Liang Shudao has seen arrogant people all his life, but he has never seen such an arrogant person. For a while, Liang Shudao was shocked. Good things will shock people. However, at this time, Liang Shudao was indeed a little confused. Is Zhao Yang of the Zhao family a match for these people? Is Mr. Zhao a match for these people in front of him? Liang Shudao said. Maybe, Uncle Zhao Yang of the Zhao family has a way. Is it true or not? Liang Shudao was a little skeptical. 42-year-old Zhao Yang is the uncle of the young master of the Zhao family. Zhao Yang is the leader of the entire Jiangshui city entertainment industry. Liang Shudao believes that as long as the uncle of the young master of the Zhao family comes forward, there will be no problem that cannot be solved. In Liang Shudao's view, this problem is very simple. A strong dragon cannot suppress a local snake. In this world of Jiangshui city, no one has been able to do anything to the Zhao family. Oh! My legs. Fuck your legs, who is so blind? Put this wooden stick on the side of the road, and it almost made me fall. Liang Shudao said. Liang Shudao was angry when he spoke. Some roadside trees were planted on both sides of the street. These roadside trees, I don't know when, some ancient wooden stakes fell. Liang Shudao was walking on this road and was hit by this wooden stake. Liang Shudao, who was beaten black and blue, knocked down the wooden stake in front of him. He was in a bad mood for a while. Thinking of going to inform, he simply prepared to buy a pig's trotter and a bottle of wine. After all, only when you are full and satisfied can you have the energy to inform. In the Zhao family villa, Wu Qi and Qin Xiaoqian were sending messages. Today, such an incident happened in Wumu sect. As Wu Qi, he had to report it to the sect master and inform all the sect members. He took out his mobile phone and recorded a 3-second video, which was sent to the confidential mailbox of Wumu sect. The sect master was affected by the young master Ba Tian, and his mind was frustrated and he was unconscious. All the strong men of Wumu sect quickly gathered in Jiangshui city. Wu Qi and Qin Xiaoqian's video is not a trivial matter. Wu Qi's video is simply a very remarkable video. For Wu Qi, he did not expect that such a big thing would happen in Jiangshui city this time. Little master, being treated so unfairly, being forced to live in a dog shed. After the video was posted, Wu Qi was already in tears. Today's incident was so serious, and the situation was so big. You know, for the entire Wumu sect, today's incident is extremely big. No matter how you put it, for the entire Wumu sect, it is an extremely powerful and shocking thing. The sect master is in a coma. The sect master of Wumu sect is in a coma, which is a huge matter. Chapter 11, The Sect Master's Own Son. Dr. Watson took a basin of warm water and wiped Yibation's body. Dr. Watson is 38 years old and her daughter is in elementary school. Looking at Ba Tian in front of her, she thought of her daughter. As an ordinary mother, Dr. Watson was heartbroken when she saw the child in front of her. I really don't know what this child has been through. Her mother is still in military uniform. We shouldn't let the descendants of heroes suffer such treatment. Watson said. Dr. Watson, as he spoke, he wiped the body of the little boy Ba Tian. After a while, the clothes were brought over. You know what, being a nurse keeps you in good health. When you walk, it's like you're flying. It usually takes me half an hour to make the journey, but you can go back and forth in just 10 minutes. Dr. Watson said to Sister Li Shufang. Sister Li Shufang is very popular in the hospital. For Li Shufan, working in the hospital, she sees saving lives and healing the wounded. Because she often stays in this place, she looks kind and benevolent. Man is the product of his environment. The environment can change some things and it can also change some people. Li Shufan took out a piece of SpongeBob's clothes and handed it to Dr. Watson. The doctor was only 38 years old, but Dr. Watson already had a lot of silver hair on his temples. Dr. Hua, do you know this boy? Li Shufan said with a frown. Li Shufan felt pity for the young man Ba Tian when she saw him for the first time. The boy in front of him looked about the same age as Dr. Watson's daughter, but the two boys looked very different. The Ba Tian in front of him had a domineering look between his eyebrows. But this young man had wounds on his hands and face. When Li Shufan went to get clothes for Ba Tian, what did Dr. Watson's daughter look like? Dr. Watson's daughter was very pretty, although she was not dressed in jewels, she was healthy and dressed simply. However, the young man in front of him was almost the same age as Dr. Watson's daughter. Sister Li, don't just stand there. Let's change this child's clothes together. This boy is so pitiful. Watson said. That's right. That's right. This young man looks about the same age as your daughter, said Li Shufan. Dr. Watson, taking SpongeBob's clothes, changed Yibation's clothes with the help of Li Shufan. Indeed, Ba Tian looked about the same age as Dr. Watson's daughter. What on earth had this young man experienced? Sister Li, look. There is still a wound on his calf wrist, said Dr. Watson. Li Shufan held a pair of socks in her hand and looked down. As Dr. Watson looked shocked, Li Shufan looked at Yibation's wound. The wound had already rotted. Fortunately, the weather in this season is not too hot and muggy. If we encounter such extreme weather, a rotten wound like this will definitely get infected or maggots will grow. Although Li Shufan, who has been working as a medical nurse for many years, does not have much medical experience, she has seen a lot of things because she works in the hospital. She has seen a lot of things, so she seems to have some experience. At this moment, seeing this infected wound the size of a thumbnail, Li Shufan suddenly got excited and tears flowed down. This Li Shufan is also a person of temperament. Sister Li, don't be emotional. I'll go get the iodine and alcohol. Wait a minute, help me press this child's legs and disinfect them quickly, said Dr. Watson. At this time, Li Shufan continued to ask, Dr. Watson, are you familiar with this mother and son? I don't know him. Oh, I thought you knew him. Sister Lee, what are you talking about? As a doctor, I must treat everyone equally, just like when you went to my house to get clothes for this child, it was all out of your genuine heart, said Dr. Watson. Yes. 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 It's still Dr. Watson who can speak, said Li Shufan. Li Shufan looked indifferent while speaking. At this moment, Wu Baiemu was watching from the side with tears in his eyes. Ba Tian, the young master of Wumu sect, was hurt so much. As a member of Wumu sect, Wu Ba was filled with incomparable anger. Doctor, should I continue to pay the bill? Wu Baiemu said. That's not necessary. You can go directly to the hospital tomorrow and pay the fee again when you pay the hospitalization fee, said Dr. Hua. Sister Lee, hold the child's legs down, he can't move. When Dr. Watson said yes, he did not put down the disinfection work. For Dr. Watson, the emotion in her heart at this moment is extremely simple. Saving the dying and healing the wounded is the doctor's duty. As an internal medicine doctor, Dr. Watson is very skilled in simple disinfection and bandaging. At this time, Watson's eyes were filled with excitement. All the indicators of the child are normal, which means there is nothing serious, but he is still a little weak. He needs to rest for a while. You, the patient's family members, don't need to worry too much, Watson said. After hearing these words, Wu Ba's heart finally calmed down. For Wu Ba, the excitement in his heart was slightly reduced. For a moment, for Wu Ba, the young master must not be in any trouble. The young master's affairs concern the entire Wu Mu sect. Wu Ba has already seen Wu Chi's video through a secret channel, which is Wu Muman's private contact mailbox. Because of what happened today, it is estimated that by tomorrow, all the disciples and strong men of Wu Mu sect will gather in the entire Jiangshui city. Jiangshui city is bound to be in a bloody storm. Doctor, I'm going out to make a phone call, I'm just outside the door, Wu Baiemu said. Okay, go. There's nothing to do at this time. Maybe the little boy's mother will wake up soon, Watson said. Watson looked relaxed after saying this. However, at this time, Watson did not expect that his words would make Wu Baemu stop. Wu Ba had been worried about the young master Ba Tian, and forgot to ask about the safety of the sect leader Yarn Suling. The matter of the sect master is also very important. At this time, Wu Baiemu turned around. Doctor, our child's mother isn't going to have any problems, right? Wu Ba said. When Wu Ba was speaking, he found that at this time, he should be more cautious. At this time, it is best not to use the name of Wu Mu men. Now is an extraordinary time. In an extraordinary time, it is better to keep a low profile. Once the matter is resolved, it will be fine. If the name of Wu Mu men is brought up again, I really don't know what will happen. At the moment, the most important thing is for the young master and the sect leader Yarn Suling to wake up as soon as possible. She's fine, said Watson. After hearing Watson's words, Wu Ba knew that the matter between the young master and the sect leader Yarn Suling was not a big deal. At this time, he felt confident. It was good to have confidence. At that moment, Wu Ba decided to contact Wu Chi and tell him about this place. At this moment, the Zhao family villa has become a battlefield. Although the Zhao family villa was now ablaze with lights, it was dead silent inside. Because it was 1 o'clock in the morning, there was not much commotion in the city at this time. Chapter 12, Yarn Suling wakes up. In the hospital corridor, Wu Ba took the smart information device and looked at the information inside. Although it was late at night, the information had already exploded at this time. The 10 guardians of Wu Mu sect all responded to the information through the information channel. Of the 10 guardians, except Wu Chi and Wu Ba who were in Jiangshui city, the other 8 guardians replied and were ready to leave, with their destination being Jiangshui city in Moya country. Wu Ba felt a little more stable after seeing this information. Jiangshui city, the Zhao family, bullied the sect master's only son. And made the sect master's only son live alone in a dog shed. Remember, listen carefully, it's a dog shed. Dog shed. Dog shed. Dog shed. How could such a thing happen in the tiny city of Jiangshui? Is there no rules on this planet Pandora? Even if the young master of Wu Mu clan had done something wrong, he would not have to live in a dog shed and eat dog food. Thinking of this, Wu Ba was extremely shocked. Wu Ba clenched his hands into a fist. His knuckles cracked. In Wu Ba's opinion, there is nothing that he cannot understand. However, it is wrong for a big family or a large clan to bully a child. That is totally wrong. Absolutely wrong. In the ward, Yarn Suling woke up. She seemed to have slept for a very long time, and in her dream, she saw her sisters and her ninth brother. Ninth brother has always been a sore spot in Yarn Suling's heart. Ninth brother, who has been spoiled since childhood, is still unmarried and serves as a grandparent to his child Ba Tian. Especially, this time it was her son Ba Tian who called for help, and Yarn Suling didn't know what happened until then. If Yarn Suling hadn't shown up in time this time, wouldn't the Yarn family in Jiangshui City be uprooted by others? His son Ba Tian had been forced by his opponents to live in a dog shed and eat dog food. What would happen next? Yarn Suling, lying on the hospital bed, did not open her eyes, but thought about the whole thing. Only after the thoughts were clear, could she know what to do next. She went over the whole incident in her mind like a movie. The key to the whole thing, in Yarn Suling's view, was that it was not just about money. Perhaps it was because of money that the conflict arose. However, the Zhao family was so unforgiving. This Zhao family was so sinister and despicable. In ancient times, big stores bullied their customers. Now, the Zhao family is bullying my son Ba Tian. Things are definitely not that simple. Behind the Zhao family is the largest family in Jiangshui City, one of the four major families in Jiangshui City, and a unique force in Moya country. It is not difficult to get rid of the Zhao family, but it will take some effort to make the four major families surrender. If we want to deal with the Zhao family, then, if we want to do this well. The more Yarn Suling thought about it, the more uncomfortable her head felt. So she stopped thinking about it. Then Yarn Suling opened her eyes and looked around. When she closed her eyes, she already knew that she was in the hospital. Her illness caused some trouble for the hospital. However, because she had been training for many years and was already the most powerful leader of Wuwu sect, she recovered quickly and woke up even though she was mentally frustrated and unconscious. Thank you, doctor. You're welcome. This is what we should do. Why did you wake up? Watson looked at Yarn Suling and said. When Yarn Suling in front of him woke up, Watson was immediately shocked. Yarn Suling looked like an ordinary woman. In the eyes of Dr. Watson, Yarn Suling was just wearing a military uniform, nothing special. At this time, Yarn Suling's appearance was extremely simple and casual. Yarn Suling moved to her son's side. Doctor, my son will be fine. Yarn Suling said. Now, Ba Tian is still in a coma. It may be due to recent fatigue and malnutrition. He needs to rest. He will be fine after resting more. Dr. Watson said calmly. Oh, then, this infusion, what is it? This is nutrient solution. Child, your body cannot keep up with the nutrition, so you need in4. This is nutrient solution. So that's how it is. Yarn Suling said with a frown. Ba Tian is sleeping at this moment. Obviously, he is now safe and sound. Lying on the hospital bed, this SpongeBob breathes evenly, with a determined look on his face. Your body also needs rest. Watson said, looking at Yarn Suling. At this time, Wu Ba came in. Wu Ba was very happy to see that Yarn Suling, the leader of the Yarn family, had woken up. That's great. That's great. Yimu, we are ready to set off to find Yarn Suzhong. Among us 8 sisters, Yarn Suzhong is the only brother. We cannot let Yarn Suzhong get hurt again in this incident. Said Yarn Suling. Yes. Wu Ba said one word. Wu Ba didn't say anything about the extra words. In this occasion, with the presence of outsiders, saying one more word could lead to the leakage of news and information about Wuwu sect. Wu Ba had already made some preparations due to his professionalism developed over the years. At this moment, outside the hospital, there were already 2 cars waiting, on standby. As long as Wu Ba gave the order, the 8 masters of Wuwu sect would go out to protect the young master. Seeing Yarn Suling was about to leave, Dr. Watson became anxious. Yarn Suling just got better, why is she in such a hurry to leave? What does it mean? Why can't you take a break from a sudden illness? You know, rest is the only way to make your body recover better. Dr. Hua, thank you. I have another request. I hope you can take the trouble to take care of Ba Tian for me. I only have this one son. His father was in a car accident when he was born. I am going to find his uncle now. I hope you can help take care of Ba Tian for me, said Yarn Suling. At this time, Li Shufan stood up. As a nurse, a professional nurse, Li Shufan knew that Yarn Suling was very busy and very tired. But it was more appropriate to let a nurse do the job of taking care of children and patients. Li Shufan looked unhappy. I say, how could you be like this? Dr. Watson just cured you and you left. Just go. You even left your son to Dr. Watson's care. Is that appropriate, said Li Shufan, who has a sharp tongue but a soft heart. When 42-year-old Li Shufan speaks in anger, it's like firing a cannonball. At this time, Li Shufan was almost there. She didn't hold her waist. If Li Shufan had held her waist, it would have been a typical street swearing situation and posture. At this time, everyone was shocked and astonished. For a moment, Wu Ba was speechless. Usually, Wu Ba was not afraid of blood, rain and wind on the battlefield. Wu Ba, who was always decisive and efficient, was so confused by Li Shufan's words that he was speechless. At this moment, Wu Ba's eyes were filled with shock. Wu Ba wanted to say something, but his words were blocked in his throat. Li Shufan, who has a sharp tongue but a soft heart, spoke at this time. Madam, if you don't mind me, I will take care of your children. I see that you are in military uniform, so you must be a good person. As for me, I am called Mrs. Li, and I have a very good reputation in the hospital. I am a professional nurse who takes care of patients, said Li Shufan. Then. Yarn Suling was speechless for a moment. Li Shufan, who was stunned by what Li Shufan said just now, was also a little moved at this time. Yarn Suling didn't expect that the woman in front of her was such a kind-hearted person. Oh, no. In the hospital, all the medical staff are kind-hearted. Then, thank you for your hard work, Sister Li. I think this child needs to sleep for at least 6 or 7 hours. After he wakes up, Sister Li can make him some nutritious porridge and some dairy products. You are a good person in every way, except that you have a sharp tongue but a soft heart, said Dr. Watson. It's not hard. I can't change this bad habit of mine. Said Li Shufan. At this moment, Wu Ba took out a stack of money from his pocket without losing any opportunity. Chapter 13, 100,000 Langtu Kingdom checks. Wu Ba took a step forward and walked in front of the bed. Li Shufan, Li the nurse, this 10,000 is for the cost of taking care of the young lady. If it's not enough, I can get more for you on a cloudy day. Enough. You are taking money from others to help them get rid of disasters. Don't worry, even if I don't give you this money, I will help take care of this child. However, taking care of a sick person does cost some money, said Li Shufan. Yarn Suling didn't say anything else. Yarn Suling thanked Dr. Watson and Nurse Li Shufan again, and then left. Professionals do professional things. At this time, Ba Tian needs to rest. If he stays in this place, it will not be a good thing for Ba Tian's recuperation and treatment. As for the hospital, there are people from Wuwu sect guarding it, so nothing will happen. Of course, for Yarn Suling, it's not that she doesn't worry about her son. Master, are you leaving alone? Wu Ba said worriedly. I'll walk for a while by myself and then go to the Zhao family. You stay in the hospital and be responsible for Ba Tian's safety. I haven't been to Jiangshui City for a long time. I'll feel better if I take a walk at this time. Yarn Suling said. Having said that, Wu Ba didn't say anything else. Today's incident was a big blow to the sect master. For a moment, since the sect master decided to go for a walk by himself, then let the sect master go for a walk by himself. Watching the sect master leave, Wu Ba felt a little. Pandora Planet, the city of Langtu Kingdom. Wu San, a tall and strong man, was wearing a pure cotton suit and a pair of black glasses, and he looked very stylish. Wu San, the third in Wu Mu men, was in the city of Sa, Langtu country, hiding his true identity as a cotton merchant while carrying out his daily work and intelligence gathering for Wu Mu men. Wu San's kung fu was of course amazing, but in his daily life, he gave people the impression of being just an ordinary person. The great hide in the city, the small hide in the city. Although it was 1 o'clock in the morning, Wu San was very excited. He was even a little happy to know that the sect master needed him to go to Jiangshui City. Wu San, who has been in Langtu Kingdom without being able to show his skills, has been itching to do something. For Wu San, the idea in his mind is extremely simple. It would be a good opportunity to go to Jiangshui City in Moya country at this time and show off my abilities. When Wu San went out, he specially took 3 sets of cotton clothes. Wu San, who was in the cotton business, was going to give some clothes to the master. He was carrying a briefcase, and it looked like he was going to a meeting, very formal. In fact, Wu San went to Moya country at this time. "Boss, shall we leave now and go to the airport?" said the driver. "Yes. Hong, have you booked the flight?" "Boss, there are no more tickets. But we have negotiated with the airport to add a special plane that will fly directly to Moya country," said the driver. At this time, Wu San said without pausing, "Well, let's go. Let's go to the airport. The sooner we go, the sooner we can get back. You can have a good rest. I also want to get to Jiangshui City as soon as possible." At this time, there was a look of indifference in Wu San's eyes. Obviously, at this time, for Wu San, the thing he was concerned about was a simple one. Time would change some things, but for Wu San, being a member of Wumu Men was his honor. The extended version of Rolls-Royce slowly left the mansion. The destination was the airport in Langtu country's Sa City. The driver remembered something at this time. Yesterday, Kang Musher came to see the boss Wu San Lingmian Yang. It should be about business. But the boss was not at home yesterday, and now is the time to talk about this matter. Kang Musher is a leader of the Shah Roaring organization in Sacheng. What will happen if I don't talk to my boss about this now? "Boss, there's something I want to tell you." Before the driver could finish his words, he saw that the road ahead was closed. What the hell? Why are they closing the road in the middle of the night? In Langtu country and Sa City, there are always all kinds of weird things happening. For example, roads are closed when aristocratic families hold weddings, or when there are major festivals in the city. I don't know what happened today. The road ahead is closed. If we drive slowly, it will be a lot of trouble, said the driver. Why is the road closed? Why is the road closed at this time, in the middle of the night? While speaking, Wu San signaled the driver to stop the car. Wu San got off the car and saw that they were doing a city beautification project. He found the person in charge of the construction and discussed the road closure. The person in charge of the construction looked reluctant. The road was blocked at night and there was a permit. As the person in charge of the construction, he had nothing to worry about. "Sir, this road," said the construction manager. "This is a check from Langtu country for 100,000. You can use it in any city as long as it is in Langtu country." Wu San handed over a check. "So handsome." At this moment, the construction manager changed his expression and greeted us with a smile. "Sir, get in the car. Go, this road, I'll open it for you right away. I wish you a safe journey." "Well, thank you." "Oh, that's not right. The person who should be thanked is me." "Thank you, you are a good person." The construction worker opened the roadblock while speaking. Wu San had a cold face and slowly got into the car. He didn't want to make a big deal about what happened today, nor did he want to waste time. In Wu San Lengmianyang's view, anything that can be solved with money is not a problem. As long as it is a problem that can be solved with money, Wu San Lengmianyang is unwilling to use his face. After all, face is useless if used too much. Another point is face and money. When solving problems, Wu San prefers to use rules and money. For a moment, the heart of this cold-faced Yang was filled with a sense of calm. "Boss, why should we give them money?" "We," said the driver. "This is an emergency. Money can no longer compare to the significance of going to Jiangshui City. Whether it is 100,000, 500,000, or 1 million, it is not enough to compare to the significance of going to Jiangshui City. Okay, I'm dead." As he spoke, the driver stepped on the accelerator and the car sped away. At this time, the construction manager looked around and immediately put the money into his pocket. Money should not be exposed. Money should not be exposed. At this time, having money is a good thing, but you cannot show off your wealth. No matter what it is, you have to keep a low profile. A man will not be rich without external wealth, and a horse will not be fat without night grass. The construction manager looked up and said as he looked at the Rolls-Royce going away. In his opinion, what was happening before his eyes was too magical. The 100,000 yuan in front of him was enough to earn more than what he could earn in 2 nights. Suddenly, how could the gap between the rich and the poor be so big? He sighed, picked up a brick from the ground, and walked towards the workers not far away. Carrying bricks is not his job, but it makes him proud and happy. If he carries one more brick, he can get one less brick in salary. Rolls-Royce, driving on the road. At this time, Wusan glanced at the driver and said, "Are you okay?" "Oh, boss. It's nothing, it's nothing. The most important thing right now is to send you to the airport." "Yes, this is the biggest thing. We have to go to Jiangshui City," Wusan said. There was anxiety in Wusan's eyes. If there was no big event, why would they ask the Wumu sect to gather in Jiangshui City overnight? This time, it must be a big event. For Wusan, the last time Wumuman gathered was a few years ago. If there was no major event, Wumuman would not gather. Look, something big is happening again this time. This is definitely a big deal, a huge one. Chapter 14, Audi car and group of people. Yang Suzhong, sitting in the back of the Audi. He hasn't had a good rest for 3 days. The reason he's still alive is because of the strong spiritual support that keeps him alive. Some people are camels in vertical direction, and can walk in the desert without food or water. Yang Suzhong is not a camel, he is a mortal. Yang Suzhong's nephew Yi Ba Tian suffered with him. As an uncle, he was not afraid of any humiliation he endured. However, letting the child suffer humiliation was his greatest dereliction of duty. The phrase, "a single move affects the entire body," can be used to describe Yang Suzhong's situation, which is completely appropriate. His residence is in front. "Let's wait for him here," said the yellow-haired guy in the co-pilot seat. "Hey, which one, should we follow him?" said the driver, Xiao Cai. Xiao Cai looked calm while speaking. As the Chen family's driver, Xiao Cai was helping out today. After all, he and Wang Mao were friends. "I don't think it's necessary." "Are you, the Zhao family, still worried that he will get lost?" Xiao Cai said. The person sitting in the passenger seat is Zhao Puyang. Zhao Puyang, nicknamed Wang Mao, is also a prominent figure in the Zhao family. Being able to participate in some big events, Zhao Puyang is very confident. For a moment, Zhao Puyang is in a good mood today because he received a red envelope of 1,000 yuan. This red envelope was not given by the young master of the Zhao family, but by Liang Shudao, the young master's driver. "Yes, you are right. Let's just wait for this bastard. Yang Suzhong is a good person, but why did he have to deal with Liang Shudao, the driver of Mr. Zhao?" said the yellow-haired Zhao Puyang. "Wang Mao, did he hold back Liang Shudao or the young master of the Zhao family?" the driver asked curiously. At this time, the driver Xiao Cai turned off the car lights. An Audi car was parked outside the gate of the community just like this. Fortunately, it was at night. If it was during the day, the security guard would probably have started to scold and beat us. Isn't it a bit inappropriate for a car to block someone's door? It is inappropriate to block the entrance of ordinary people. What's more, this car is blocking the entrance of the community. This is extremely inappropriate. Yang Suzhong, with a tired body, walked towards the community. Life always treats people differently. Sometimes, life brings warmth to people. Sometimes, life brings pain to people. No matter what happens, as long as Yi Ba Tian follows Yang Suzhong, he will not lose faith in life. Life is sometimes tiring, but for the sake of his nephew, Yang Suzhong finally decided to give the money to the Zhao family. Although, at this time, he still had 10,000 yuan. Yang Suzhong walked with heavy steps to the door of his home. Seeing the familiar door, Yang Suzhong smiled. He saw the door of his home, just like usual. That's good. No one threw paint on them. It seems that the Zhao family still lacks some skills in collecting debts. After that, he turned the key. The door of the room creaked open. At this time, Yang Suzhong was surprised. "What is it?" Yang Suzhong said. At this time he bent down and picked up a postcard. "Very cartoony and very good looking, classmate Yi Ba Tian, you haven't been to school for 2 days, and all your classmates are waiting for your return. Signed, Teacher Liu Miao." Teacher Liu Miao is Yi Ba Tian's teacher and also the class teacher. Seeing the postcard from Teacher Liu Miao, Yang Suzhong suddenly felt a surge of love for life. He took the postcard and put it in his pocket. After taking out 10,000 yuan, Yang Suzhong went downstairs. This trip can be described as, be it a dangerous situation or a life-threatening one, he was prepared. Yang Suzhong decided to let Yi Ba Tian see the teacher's postcard. Teacher Liu Miao was a very good teacher. If he really died, then in Yang Suzhong's opinion, teacher Liu Miao could also be a trust of Ba Tian. Life always gives people faith, even if it is a little small. Close the door. There was a familiar sound of someone coming down the stairs in the corridor. Yang Suzhong did not take the elevator as he felt it was safer to take the stairs. In front of the hospital, Du Chong took the walkie-talkie and made personnel arrangements. As the guardian of the city's security, Du Chong was a responsible person. After receiving the order from his superiors, he immediately sent people to beat the gate of Yang Suling's hospital in Jiangshui City. What happened today was a big deal. In Du Chong's opinion, he couldn't be careless. The other party drove armored vehicles and tanks to Zhao's house. The Zhao family villa was said to be worth hundreds of millions of yuan. In less than 10 minutes, it was razed to the ground. Wrong. I heard that there are still 2 rooms left in the Zhao family's villa. It seems to be a guard hall or a guard room. Some say it is a kitchen. In short, this is the most common view, but in Du Chong's opinion, that is not what he cares about. What Du Chong had to do now was to wait for Yang Suling to come out. As the guardian of the city's public security, he had the responsibility and obligation to take his men out to do their work after receiving the order. Du Chong is a straightforward person. He is 1.85 meters tall and wears a uniform, looking very dignified. A group of people, under the wise command of Du Chong, were on standby at the entrance of the hospital. At the same time, the combat center of Langtu Kingdom. Qin Simu, the spokesperson of the tiger-headed Flying Eagle organization, was sitting in the video command center room. He was in a very anxious mood. 3 panels are online. At this time, only the 4th one is still connected. The panel of the 4th display screen displayed a message waiting to be accessed. Lin Shi, 35 years old, works for the city special assistant of Jiangshui City, a former member of the Wuwu sect, codenamed 42. Video connection, 543. After anxiously waiting, I finally connected the 4th one and put them together. Okay. Let me say a few words first. It's so late, I'm disturbing you all because there is something important, said the speaker. The combat center of Langtu Kingdom was dark with lights on. Qin Simu, when he was speaking, no one spoke. As the voice of the tiger-headed Flying Eagle organization, he was not sleeping at this time, which must be something big. At this time, the 39-year-old man, dressed in military uniform, sat in the video command center room with a serious face. What was going on? At this time, something big happened in Moya country, and it was a security issue. Otherwise, this guy would not have woken up several people at this time. There are 4 of us, and we all just need to upgrade. 2 people are just bragging. 3 people are playing landlord. 4 people are playing upgrade. The atmosphere in front of me is a little different. I guess, everyone, to make a long story short, the strong men of Wuwu sect are gathering towards Moya country at this moment. Qin Simu said. When Qin Simu said yes, the 3 people connected were excited. Chapter 15, Wuwu Men S number 42 strongest. Video, connecting. Everyone was shocked when they heard what Qin Simu said. Obviously, something big happened. If nothing happened, why would Wuwu sect gather in Moya country? Boss, tell me, what do you want us to do? This time, it's a big deal. Wuwu sect has always had a good relationship with Moya country. Why are they all gathered in Moya country? Really, I'm a little confused. What's going to happen at this time? I don't know. Video conference, it's lively at the moment. Even at this time, Lin Shi, who was feeling sleepy, became alert. Lin Shi's heart was full of questions. As a woman, she didn't know what was going on at this time. She used to be a member of Wuwu Men, but that was a long time ago. Now, the Wuwu sect has gathered in Moya country, what's going on? Then, Qin Simu waved his hand, signaling everyone to listen to him. Then, Qin Simu explained some of the situation. Everyone listened to him very carefully at this time. Obviously, this was not a small matter, because this was a big matter. It's not just a big deal, it's a very big deal. Everyone knew that just yesterday, Wuwu sect was still defending the border against foreign enemies. Why did all the Wuwu sect gather in Jiangshui City at night? This matter is not that simple. There must be something hidden behind it. As for what it is unknown. Liu Shi, listen to my orders. Just leave for Jiangshui City and go back to see Wumu sect's leader Yarn Suling. Okay. Got it. I'll do it right away. Remember, don't get into conflict with anyone from Wumu clan. You have to stay calm on this matter. Got it. I understand. If anything happens, I will report it immediately. Go, pay attention to your communication method. Qin Simu said. With that, the video call ended. This incident was too big. For a time, it shook the largest security center of Moya country. The magnitude of the incident was enough to shock everyone. In this dream, unknown things were happening quietly. After Liu Shi received the order, she immediately set off for Jiangshui City. According to the order, the place she was going to was the hospital. When she arrived at the hospital entrance, she got angry. Why, there are guards at the hospital entrance. Are these guards headed by Du Qiong trying to catch Yarn Suling? It looks a bit like that. For a moment, Liu Shi was so angry that he didn't want to talk. Isn't this just nonsense? As an experienced city special assistant, and she was once a disciple of Wumu sect, Liu Shi knew the strength of Wumu sect. Wumu sect, being able to gather in Moya country tonight, must have something big going on. The sect leader is now in Jiangshui City Hospital, which indicates a hidden image. It is possible that all the disciples will gather in Jiangshui City. If that were the case, the few guards in front of us would not be enough. These city defenders are nothing but cannon fodder in front of Wumuman. It can even be said that they are not even at the level of cannon fodder. It is simply the difference between an eggshell and a stone. The gap is huge and very obvious. I really don't know what these people headed by Du Qiong are thinking. That's not right. It should be said that it was the people behind Du Qiong who were thinking. Puzzling and speechless. For a moment, Liu Shi didn't want to talk. Liu Shi lowered his head and walked into the hospital. At this time, a familiar voice was heard from the hospital lobby. Well, Liu Shi, you. Yimu's voice rang out. This voice is very familiar. Because their voice was too familiar, Liu Shi stopped immediately. She looked around and saw Wu Bie and the sect leader Yarn Suling. At this time, Liu Shi felt as if she had encountered a strong warm current in her heart. After leaving Wumu Men, she missed everything about Wumu Men. The sect master had saved her life more than once. 37-year-old Yarn Suling was not an ordinary person. For Yarn Suling, what she expected and felt in her heart was a shock. Although she knew the sect master was here before she came, she didn't expect that Wumu sect's Wu Beimu was also here. Seeing her familiar comrades and fellow sect members, Liu Shi's eyes suddenly burst into tears. She was so excited that words came to her lips, but she couldn't say them. Wu, Yi, master. Who would have known that at this moment, Wu Bie's face looked so grim? Wu Bie took a step forward and stretched out his left arm to block their way. Obviously, Wu Bie had a misunderstanding. These people outside were brought here by you, right? You're great, little girl. Wu Bie said a little angrily. Mina. No. Don't scold me, I can't bear it. You won't be with ungrateful people. My dear brother. My dear brother. Liu Shi, am not the kind of person who is ungrateful. If you hadn't saved my life in the western border of Moya country, I would have died long ago. If it weren't for the sect master who saved me from danger time and time again, Liu Shi, wouldn't be where I am today. Even if Liu Shi, died once, or died 3 times, it would not be enough to repay the kindness of Wumu sect, and it would not be enough to repay the sect master's great kindness. After saying that, Liu Shi knelt down on one knee. For a woman to kneel on one knee is the highest form of etiquette in Wumu sect. At this time, the anger on Wu Bie's face relaxed a little. Although the atmosphere was not as tense as before, it was still very cold. Because the sect leader still didn't speak at this time. As Wu Bie of the Wumu sect, Yimu said calmly, those people outside are armed with guns. I heard they are from the city guard. Are they here to harass the sect leader? Wu Bie said. Mina, those people are from the city guard, but they are definitely not the people I lead. Although my rank is higher than that of the city guard, I will never do anything to embarrass the Wumu sect, the sect master, and you. Liu Shi said. At this time, Yarn Suling took 2 steps forward. She came up to Liu Shi and patted him lightly on the shoulder. Suddenly, Liu Shi felt a strong attraction that pulled him up. The leader said, "Get up, 42. For a moment, Liu Shi was so excited that he couldn't speak. Okay. Yes. The sect leader actually called him 42, which really made Lucia too excited. At this time, Lucia's eyes were full of excitement. A tear flashed in the corner of her eye. For a moment, Lucia was extremely happy. She stood up and walked out immediately. At the moment, we need to quickly disperse the city guards. It was obvious that these city guards had no idea how powerful the Wuwu sect was. Not to mention the few people in front of them, even if there were 3 times as many people, they would not be a match for the 2 Wuwu sect warriors in front of them. In front of Wu Ba and the leader of Wuwu sect, these armed personnel were not even enough to carry their shoes. It can be said that in front of these strong men, ordinary people are ants. Sometimes, or they have to roast the eyes of those strong men. So at this time, Lucia's timely appearance actually gave these city guards a chance to stop the losses in time. After all, when facing a strong person, hiding and escaping are the most effective means. Among the 36 stratagems, there is one called, running is the best stratagem. At this time, Yang Suling walked forward without looking back. Chapter 16, Books are the Golden House. Audi, turn off the engine. There are a few words on the central console of the car: energy conservation and emission reduction. Everyone should take action. Although this car is a luxury car, it would still waste fuel if the engine is not turned off. The driver, Cai Fengwei, opened the door and got out of the car. He was holding a pack of cigarettes and a lighter. This 27-year-old boy. Youth. Anyway, he is currently unmarried. Xiao Cai, do you want to smoke? Said the yellow-haired Zhao Puyang. Yes, smoking. Cai Fengwei, holding a cigarette, said lightly. Xiao Cai is just helping out on today's driving mission. After all, this matter is the Zhao family's business and has nothing to do with the Qian family where Xiao Cai is from. Have a cigarette to relieve your fatigue. Xiao Cai was calm and not anxious at all. At this time, the yellow-haired Zhao Puyang also got off the car. Wang Mao handed Zhao Puyang a cigarette, which was very expensive. The only thing that made people feel uncomfortable was the 2 lines of writing on the cigarette. Smoking is harmful to health and teenagers are prohibited from smoking. My goodness, these 2 lines of words really don't make sense to Zhao Puyang. It's really like, I feel sick every time I see it. Because Zhao Puyang has always regarded himself as a teenager. Although he is currently over 18 years old. After I finish today's work, I will have 2 days off, said the yellow-haired Zhao Puyang. At this time, Xiao Cai didn't say anything and handed Zhao Puyang a cigarette. For Zhao Puyang, what he expects is a simple feeling. Time gives people a simple feeling. Xiao Cai, light a cigarette for Zhao Puyang. Xiao Cai, you are very special. What do you mean? What's so special about me? What's so special about me? I'm just an ordinary person. If I hadn't been in college and couldn't find a job, I wouldn't have driven for the Qian family. Driving is not shameful. Wang Mao said excitedly. It's really not shameful. Is it shameful to drive? The yellow-haired man took a deep puff of cigarette and slowly exhaled a puff of nicotine. Wang Mao looked calm while speaking, as if he had no special feelings. In Wang Mao's opinion, knowledge is still useful. At least after learning some knowledge, the reaction and logical thinking are very powerful. When it comes to learning new knowledge, you are faster than the average person, right? Wang Mao, who has never been to school, has suffered a lot in terms of education. For this yellow-haired man, the thoughts in his mind were extremely simple. Time slowly slipped away. Wang Mao, who felt a little sleepy, immediately became energetic after smoking a cigarette. At this time, Wang Mao's eyes showed some envy. In this world, there are always some people who are born with blessings but do not know how to appreciate them. The environment in front of him, the current situation, no matter what it is full of uncertainty for Wang Mao. For example, Wang Mao didn't know that Yang Suling was rushing towards her home at this moment. Xiao Cai smiled faintly. He wanted to say something, but nothing came out. Regarding learning, Cai Fengwei never thought that after learning a lot of knowledge, he would end up being a driver. What is the problem? Don't people always say, isn't he reading useful? What is it for? Books contain both a golden house and a beautiful woman. But the driver Xiao Cai managed to make a living by driving. Is it infuriating? Is it frustrating? Well, let's go. That loser comes out. Is it Yang Suzhong? This guy finally came out. Should we ask how much money he brought with him? If this guy only brought a few thousand or tens of thousands, forget it. What? We should mind our own business. Xiao Cai said. Wang Mao paused for a second and then gave a thumbs up. This book is useful if you read it more. For example, at this moment, Xiao Cai talked about a very powerful topic. At this time, Xiao Cai talked about a very important essence, which is the relationship of money. Tonight, Wang Mao's task is to bring Yan Suzhong to collect the money. Other things have nothing to do with Wang Mao. As a worker, Wang Mao shouldn't worry about too many things. After all, in Wang Mao's opinion, nothing can compete with money and interests. If it's none of your business, just ignore it. Well, let's start the car and get ready to go, shall we? Put out your cigarette before getting in the car. Why? I'm a germaphobe. Is that okay? Xiao Cai stopped and looked serious. Ox. Yellow hair, thumbs up. Okay, you're a misophobe. Awesome. The yellow-haired man didn't say anything, but threw the cigarette butt fiercely on the ground. Then, he stepped on the cigarette butt with his foot. For a moment, the yellow-haired man's heart was filled with a strange feeling. Yan Suzhong came over limping. His coat was clean at the moment, and there were a few drops of blood on his grey pants, but it didn't look obvious at this time. At this time, Wang Mao saw Yan Suzhong. He immediately became cartoonish. Wang Mao changed his serious look and bent down to open the door for Yan Suzhong. Wang Mao said politely, Uncle Yan, please sit down slowly. Don't bump into anything. Yan Suzhong was so angry at this time that he didn't say a word. Yan Suzhong's eyes were filled with surprise, and in his heart there was a feeling of disgust. On TV, villains of Wang Mao and Xiaocai's age should be people who hate evil or are extremely evil. Why does Wang Mao in front of me look a bit like a good guy? For a moment, Yan Suzhong was a little puzzled. At this time, 33-year-old Yan Suzhong suppressed his doubts. He did not speak. Now that Yan Suzhong was in a weak position, he thought it would be better for him to speak less. For a moment, there was a look of confusion in Yan Suzhong's eyes. Wang Mao glanced at Xiao Cai and said, Cai, can we drive now? I've thrown away my cigarette butt. The smell of cigarettes on my body has also been blown away by the wind. Xiao Cai said speechlessly, let's go. After helping you this time, I want to have a midnight snack. After saying that, Xiao Cai started the car and prepared to leave. Liang Shudao, after having dinner at a restaurant, left drunkenly. Drinking alone can be a happy or unhappy thing. But for Liang Shudao, what happened to him today was depression. I thought that leaning against the big tree of the Zhao family would provide me with a good shelter from the wind and rain, but who knew that the tree would be hit? What hit the tree was not a car, but a tank. Oh my god, it's a tank. Just thinking about it, Liang Shudao felt cold. Liang Shudao was walking on the road, with his neck in his collar. He lowered his head and walked forward. Suddenly, a high beam from the front shone on him. Liang Shudao was very alert, and at this moment, he immediately dodged to the side of the road. Oops! Liang Shudao shouted. Because he dodged too quickly, Liang Shudao suddenly hit the wall on the side of the road. He covered his arm and looked around. It turned out that he was walking on the sidewalk and bumped into the wall, which was also very natural. It seems that he is already frightened today. Liang Shudao was extremely shocked by what happened to the Zhao family. He is now a coward. Chapter 17, The Price of Ignorance. There are not many vehicles on the asphalt road. In the Audi car, Xiao Cai looked puzzled. Xiao Cai said, Wang Mao, shall we pick up Uncle Liang and go together? No. Let's go back quickly. Or, just complete the mission. He might be drunk again. If we take him with us at this time, it will probably cause trouble. Why do I feel like Uncle Liang is a little weird? Is he a little bit neurotic? You can see this. Of course. Of course. Wang Mao blinked his eyes at this time. For a moment, the yellow-haired man's thoughts became different. For this yellow-haired guy, what he felt was simplicity. Wang Mao did know something about Liang Shudao. If Liang Shudao didn't drink, he was a normal person and looked very normal. If Liang Shudao drank, he looked completely different. After drinking, Liang Shudao became a different person, very pitiful. Uncle Liang is also a miserable man. What do you mean? Tell me about it. Ahem, can I smoke in the car? Can't. Well, I won't say anything. Save it for next time. Cheap. Bitch. What a cheap person. Yang Suzhong, who was sitting in the back seat, couldn't bear to watch it anymore. Why? Yang Suzhong sighed at this time, looking unhappy. What he felt today was so casual, or simple. For a moment, Yang Suzhong's eyes were filled with expectations, just to save his nephew. Yang Suzhong didn't know that his eighth sister Yang Suling had returned to Jiangshui City. At this time, Wang Mao looked up at the rearview mirror. The yellow-haired guy in the rearview mirror has eyes full of evil. I say, you don't like us. As Wang Mao spoke, he unbuckled his seat belt and prepared to deal with Yang Suzhong. For this yellow-haired guy, the idea in his mind was simple and uncomplicated. Wouldn't it be easy to deal with Yang Suzhong? A stack of side dishes. Time can give people a unique feeling, even a little bit. Don't. Wang Mao, hold on. Xiao Cai said. Xiao Cai, looking at the road ahead, unconsciously drifted towards Wang Mao. For a moment, Xiao Cai did not notice that there was a person standing in the middle of the road 1,000 meters ahead. Which person? Who is it? Who is she? Who is that person? She. Could it be our little Nezar? Yang Suling. There is a person standing in the middle of the road. That person is the god of war Yang Suling. Don't hold me back. Don't try to persuade me. If I don't teach him a lesson today, I will. Yellow hair. You still want to be polite. Why, want to be polite? I think it would be more appropriate for you to be a warrior. Xiao Cai said. Xiao Cai's words temporarily made Wang Mao stop his plan to beat Yang Suzhong. Wang Mao took a deep breath and returned to his seat. The yellow-haired guy who didn't wear a seat belt thought that what Xiao Cai said was right. Being calm and composed is what a person should do. Wisdom. Calmness. In Wang Mao's opinion, nothing is more important than wisdom. The Xiao Cai in front of him was an intellectual. When he was with Xiao Cai, Wang Mao could still listen to some of what he said. Listen to advice and eat your fill. Wang Mao's anger slowly died down. Sven. It's better to stay polite. Thinking of this, Wang Mao said, Xiao Cai, brother Cai. Get off the car, I'll drive. Go back early and take you to a seafood restaurant for a big meal. This, you can have it. After that, the car stopped by the roadside. Soon, the driver and co-pilot switched positions. Wang Mao is a very wild guy. As an experienced driver, Wang Mao likes the feeling of racing at night. That feeling is very good for Wang Mao. Fasten your seatbelts, bro. They are for saving your life. I got it. As he spoke, the yellow-haired man fastened his seatbelt. Then, the Audi seemed to start accelerating forward. Why is there someone in front? At this time, Yang Suzhong, who was sitting in the back seat, had his eyes closed. Just when he was leaving home, he sent a message to Chen Yingyin, if we never meet again in this life, remember that I have seen you. These words are neither cold nor hot, but they sound like a fable. In his mind, Yang Suzhong was recalling the past, hoping that someone could help him with his current difficulties. No matter who it is, as long as someone can help, it's good. When people are in danger, they will think of their loved ones. Will someone else be hit and killed by a car tonight? A voice sounded. Don't. Saving a life is better than building a 7-story pagoda. Xiao Cai said. Xiao Cai had good intentions, but after he became a driver, he seemed a little unhappy. Perhaps it was due to the environment that made Xiao Cai a little unhappy psychologically. Xiao Cai's original intention is still very good. I have no other choice about this. This man is looking for death, said the yellow-haired man. Although he said this, he still made the choice subconsciously. Yang Suling stood in the middle of the road, looking unafraid of life or death. Is it fun? This is for filming a movie. Still, what? At this moment, at almost 2:15 in the morning, Yang Suling is like this? To the yellow-haired man, it was like he had encountered a man who was looking for death. Under Xiao Cai's persuasion, the yellow-haired man subconsciously released the accelerator, but it was useless. The car was going at 220 miles per hour and it wanted to slow down for a moment, but it wasn't that fast. Nothing can be achieved overnight, it takes a process. The scene at this moment gives people the feeling that a luxury car hits a passerby. The only difference is that this passerby is seeking his own death. The story is a little different from the usual stories. Today's heroine, Yarn Suling, is not seeking death, but is here to save her brother. Ninth brother, Yarn Suzhong, who is he? Yarn Suzhong is the younger brother of Yarn Suling, the leader of Wuwu sect. Yarn Suzhong has always been one of the most important people in Yarn Suling's heart. Tonight, Yarn Suling, in order to save her son Ba Tian and her ninth brother Yarn Suzhong, could be described as grass. A sound came from Huang Mao. Huang Mao was very angry and extremely shocked. The person in front of me didn't move at all. What does that mean? Do you really want to die? For a moment, the yellow-haired man actually felt a little regretful. However, at this moment, it was too late to regret it. Because the huge inertia of the car was moving forward. At this time, there was a look of confusion in the yellow-haired man's eyes. If I bump into this person, will it be bad luck for me? Well, is there anything else to say? Definitely. However, Yarn Suzhong opened his eyes at this moment. There is indeed a person on the road ahead. Yarn Suzhong was confused at this moment. Why was the yellow-haired man cursing at people? But when Yarn Suzhong saw the person in front of him, he was shocked. However, before he could react, the car was already driving towards the figure. The next moment, something extremely shocking happened. What happened next was the price Wang Mao and Xiaocai paid for their ignorance. Chapter 18, The Sect Master Saves His Brother. On the road. Yarn Suling stood facing the wind without moving. Her wide eyes slowly shrank at this moment. Don't people always say that small eyes focus light? The moving car suddenly stopped when it was 50 centimeters away from Yarn Suling. At this moment, a powerful force caused the entire car to stop immediately. At this time, Yarn Suling slowly raised her arms, like a Tai Chi master. Yarn Suling raised her hand and made a fist. She punched the hood of the car. The car sank into the ground instantly, and the front of the car was lower than the back. The driver, Wang Mao, was surprised. A large hole was smashed into the hood of the car, and half of the car's tires were stuck in the road. Call someone, roared the yellow-haired man. Immediately afterwards, Wang Mao called Uncle Zhao Yarn. In Wang Mao's phone book, phone numbers are recorded according to seniority. Usually, Wang Mao called Zhao Yarn of the Zhao family his second uncle, so he simply named the phone number in the phone book as Uncle Zhao Yarn. Hey, Uncle Zhao. We've met a ruthless person. At the intersection of Haiqian Road and Daoxiang Road. Please come to our rescue. How many people are there on the other side? One person. Okay, got it. 5 minutes, there. Very awesome. You're the best, bring 20 people, said the yellow-haired man. New. After saying that, the other party hung up the phone. Wang Mao was still unsatisfied at this moment and his face was full of fear. For this yellow-haired man, his heart was filled with fear. Today, he had met an opponent. Could this person in front of me be Superman? In the movies, Superman has superpowers. This person in front of me can punch a hole in the hood of a car with one punch. Isn't this Superman? Not Superman, not a superhero, then what is it? Wang Mao blinked his eyes, looking helpless. Xiao Cai. The yellow-haired man turned his head and looked. Oh! A god, a ghost! Xiao Cai exclaimed with a pale face. Where there are gods, there are ghosts. They are all your inner demons. Don't be afraid, I'm calling people. Uncle Yang from the Zhao family will bring people over in a while, said the yellow-haired man. Uncle Yang? Is it Uncle Yang from the Zhao family who runs the entertainment venues in the entire Jiangshui city? Xiao Cai said. Nonsense. If not him, then who else? In Jiangshui city, who doesn't know Uncle Yang of the Zhao family, said the yellow-haired man. Yang Suzhong, who was sitting in the car, finally saw clearly who the person on the road was. She is Yarn Suling. She is the eighth sister. It's her, it's really her. For a moment, Yarn Suzhong had tears in his eyes. At the moment when Yarn Suzhong saw his eighth sister, Yarn Sulai also saw his younger brother Yarn Suzhong. Yarn Su Zhong. Yarn family, ninth brother. Yarn Suling was in the middle of the road, quietly looking at her ninth brother Yarn Suzhong through the car window. Yarn Suzhong was also looking at his sister Yarn Suling through the car window. Huge waves surged in Yarn Suling's heart. The ninth brother in front of him was still the same as usual. However, his face was more vicissitudes. The ninth brother, Yarn Suzhong, did not look as energetic as before. What happened to all this? For a moment, Yarn Suling's heart was filled with anger. She used her fist to hit the car directly, causing the entire front of the car to sink into the ground. Hatred can make people lose their minds. However, sometimes, love can make people do some dangerous things, for example, turning love into hatred, or doing some special things because of love. At this time, Yarn Suling's eyes were filled with excitement. Ninth brother! Yarn Suling shouted. Eighth sister! Ninth brother, I came back late. I'm sorry for making you suffer, I'm sorry for making you suffer. Yarn Suling said. As she spoke, Yarn Suling held Yarn Suzhong's shoulders with both hands. At this moment, Yarn Suling's heart was filled with joy and sorrow. Yarn Suling didn't know how many times he had thought about the scene of meeting his younger brother, but he never thought that the meeting between him and his ninth brother would be like this. Yarn Suling was heartbroken when she saw the scar on her ninth brother's forehead. Yarn Suling, the eighth sister, burst into tears instantly. You know, when he was a child, no one in the entire Yarn family would touch a hair on Yarn Suzhong's head. The ninth brother in front of him looked haggard, with a wound on his forehead. For Yarn Suling, the thoughts in her heart were extremely hateful. Hate the sky, hate the earth, hate. Hate myself. If I had come back earlier, how could my ninth brother be like this? As an older sister, Yarn Suling did not take good care of her younger brother. As an eighth sister, Yarn Suling did not protect her younger brother. Sister, don't cry, said the ninth brother Yarn Suzhong. Sister, look, I'm still alive, Yarn Suzhong said. Yarn Suzhong was still talking and laughing like usual. Although her brother looked natural, Yarn Suling knew that he was under duress. If his brother had not been in danger, threatened, or in crisis, Ba Tian would not have called for help. At this time, a business car drove over. The silver-white business car slowly slowed down and then stopped by the roadside. A young woman got off the car. She was very elegant. She was wearing a pair of white 3-centimeter high heels, which made her look noble and elegant. Her name is Tian Ba. Tian Ba, after receiving Yarn Suzhong's text message, has been tossing and turning. Finally, she made a decision to go to Yarn's house to see what happened. The real driving force that drives her forward is the driving force of first love. For various reasons, Yarn Suzhong and Tian Ba, the first love, finally parted ways. Tian Ba married into a wealthy family and started a new life. Yarn Suzhong became a chef and began his life in the smoky kitchen. The only difference from the film and television drama is that Yarn Suzhong and Tian Ba have each other in their hearts. The phrase, love and hate each other, is a bit inappropriate when used on Yarn Suzhong and Tian Ba. Tian Ba's life has been pretty normal for so many years. But Yarn Suzhong, another protagonist in the story, has never been married. Life always gives people unique feelings, or even emotions. Tian Ba suddenly appears. There was excitement in Yarn Suzhong's eyes. When he saw Tian Ba, his blood still boiled in his heart. Yarn Suzhong felt calm and surprised. Eighth sister, this is Tian Ba. Yarn Suzhong looked at Tian Ba walking towards him and immediately introduced her to his eighth sister. Yarn Suling smiled and said, I know. Even if you don't tell me, I know everything. Her photo has been on your desk in the study. After so many years, she is still as beautiful and elegant as ever. Brother, you have good taste. As she spoke, Yarn Suling gave a thumbs up to her ninth brother Yarn Suzhong. Tian Ba really hasn't changed much. If there is any change, it is her temperament. Now Tian Ba looks more elegant. There are two ways to acquire temperament. Read books and gain experience. Yes, only experience and reading can improve one's temperament. In terms of temperament, people are all like this. Seeing Tian Ba coming over, Yarn Suzhong hurriedly introduced his eighth sister to her. Ba, this is my eighth sister. Yarn Suling. Chapter 19, Tian Ba, Miss Tian. Tian Ba looked at Yarn Suling with a calm expression. Tian Ba said, Ba, nice to meet eighth sister. It seems that Yarn Suzhong didn't. I thought he was going to commit suicide or something. I was so scared. I'm glad he's fine. At this time, Yang Suzhong stuck out his tongue. He thought to himself, if he hadn't sent her a message, he would have been in danger. It was because Yang Suzhong hesitated at home whether to send a message to Chen Yingying that he wasted some time and met the eighth sister on the road. Yang Suzhong looked at Chen Yingying, then turned around and pointed at the car on the side of the road. The car in front of me was already completely sunk into the ground. This scene was not a movie, but was done by the eighth sister Yang Suling. The scene was horrific, like a traffic accident, but more like a hostage-taking incident. Chen Yingying, if eighth sister and you hadn't shown up in time today, I would have been finished. Yang Suzhong said. Finished? Well, is it the end, or is it the egg? Chen Yingying looked at Yang Suzhong with a grin. Chen Yingying felt relieved when she saw that Yang Suzhong was not in danger. Chen Yingying was not unaware of Yang Suzhong's love and devotion to her over the years. However, life is always so strange, and some people are destined not to be together. Chen Yingying still chose the life of luxury. Chen Yingying didn't want to live a simple and hard life with Yang Suzhong, so she married into a wealthy family. Despite this, she still had a bottom line. Chen Yingying silently paid attention to the other party and never stepped out of the red line of morality and behavior. Everything is peaceful and sound, that's good. Time will heal everything. Who would have known that tonight, Chen Yingying received a text message from Yang Suzhong. Chen Yingying felt that Yang Suzhong would not send her a message unless it was a big deal. As a woman, her intuition told her that she should go meet Yang Suzhong. Even though it was 2 o'clock in the morning. Time makes people grow old quickly, but love never grows old. Seeing that Yang Suzhong was fine, she smiled. She even joked while talking. Life suddenly became clear to Chen Yingying. At this moment, Chen Yingying's tightly gathered heart relaxed. She feels happy when the person who loves her lives a good life, even though the two of them are not together. At this time, Yang Suling suddenly found that the atmosphere at the scene suddenly became warmer. In Yang Suling's view, the most beautiful thing is love. Should we talk about the past while walking? Yang Suling said to her brother. Should. But at this time, my nephew is still in danger, said Yang Suzhong, the ninth brother of Yang. Yang Suzhong looked very serious when he spoke. Life will give people different experiences and also give people unique depth. I have already made arrangements for Ba Tian. He is in the hospital right now. The doctor said that Ba Tian is fine and just needs to rest quietly. There are people guarding Chenner in the hospital. Yang Suling said. Then, should we go to the hospital together to see the child Ba Tian? Chen Yingying said. At this time, Yang Suzhong remembered that Chen Yingying drove over in the middle of the night to help him because of his own problems. If I continue to waste Chen Yingying's time at this time, wouldn't it be a bit inappropriate? Although Yang Suzhong was touched by her being asked to come out in the middle of the night, he still felt that it was a bit inappropriate. That. Yingying, wouldn't she do anything bad to you, right? Yang Suzhong said. What do you think? Chen Yingying continued, since I'm here, I shouldn't leave right away. Help people to the end, save people to the end. I understand this matter, this principle. Chen Yingying's words made Yang Suling admire her. No wonder Yang Suzhong has been in love with this woman for so many years. The reason was very simple, this woman was worthy of Yang Suzhong's doing this because she was very outstanding. Chen Yingying is very good. At this time, Yang Suling turned around, looked around, and prepared to leave. However, some people appeared around and seemed unwilling to let Yang Suling and her group leave. At this time, some vehicles and people appeared on the streets around. These people are from the Zhao family. The leader is Zhao Yang. Zhao Yang from the Zhao family is a ruthless character. After receiving the call from Huang Mao, Zhao Yang asked his men to find out some information. As expected, something happened to Zhao Qian, the son of the Zhao family. The new hatred and old grudges made the 42-year-old Zhao Yang feel that he should personally show up tonight. Because the place where Huang Mao got into trouble was close to where he was, Zhao Yang decided to deal with Huang Mao's problem first and then go to see what happened to Zhao Qian. As they are both members of the Zhao family, they are of the same bloodline, so naturally he has to take care of his nephew. For Zhao Yang, the idea in his mind was so simple. They are of the same origin, so as an uncle, it is natural for him to take care of his nephew. Yang Suzhong followed Chen Yingying and prepared to leave. But after walking a few steps, Chen Yingying found that Yang Suling did not move. Yarn Suling was staring at the empty streets in a daze. Eighth sister, let's go, why don't you leave? Chen Yingyin said. After she finished speaking, she discovered that at this moment, thugs appeared in every alley. Is this a movie? Or is Yarn Suling, the eighth sister of the Yarn family, waiting for a man? Could it be that the eighth sister of the Yarn family is a gangster? Chen Yingyin heard that Yarn Suzhong's eighth sister joined the army a few years ago, but Chen Yingyin did not expect that Yarn Suzhong's eighth sister would be like this. Isn't he it? We might be in some trouble. Yarn Suling said calmly. Eighth sister, let's run. There are so many people. Yarn Suzhong said. Can he run away? Yarn Suling said. That is true. At this time, can you escape? There are so many people in front of me, and it seems that there are at least 30 of them. Huang Mao immediately became excited when he saw Zhao Yan's men appear. At this time, Xiao Cai was so scared that he was a little stunned. Xiao Cai, sit here and don't move. Today, I'll let you see what the Zhao family's scene is like, said the yellow-haired man. I hope you don't get beaten today. Xiao Cai said. After watching so many movies, Xiao Cai can guess what will happen next. For Xiao Cai, he could sense what was going to happen next. Since Yarn Suling was blocking the car on the road, and she was able to flatten the invisible cover of the car with one fist, it showed that she was not an ordinary person. At this time, people who practiced martial arts and had high powers did exist. In the past, it was just a legend, but now when a real master appeared before his eyes, Xiao Cai was scared. For a moment, Xiao Cai felt like he was about to piss his pants. It's not that Xiao Cai is timid or lacks vision, but that the Yarn Suling in front of him is simply too powerful. It was because of the fear in his heart that Xiao Cai was sitting with his back against the wall. At this moment, Xiao Cai's eyes were full of shock. The battle between masters does not depend on numbers, but on skills. A true master can take the head of an enemy general with thousands of soldiers. A true master can pass 5 gates and kill 6 generals, can be invincible by himself, and can scare away thousands of enemy troops with a roar on the Danyang slope. Xiao Cai is a witness today. Xiao Cai, with his back against the wall, is looking forward to the start of a thrilling battle. Often, the real big things all start from small things. For example, today I am doing something with Huang Mao, and sending this guy named Yarn Suzhong is not a big deal. I believe that today is also a big occasion. Chapter 20, It's not that easy to leave. At this moment, Zhao Yang frowned. For a moment, Zhao Yang did not expect that he would meet a woman today, and a strong woman at that. As the leader of Jiangshui City, Zhao Yang doesn't like bullying women. Even thieves have their own code of conduct. Although Zhao Yang is not a decent person, he has his own bottom line. Zhao Yang never bullies women, never bullies the elderly, and never bullies children. These 3 things not to bully were called by Zhao Yang 3 no rules of life. He even wondered if this yellow-haired Zhao Puyan had made a mistake. What was the situation that made this yellow-haired man come here to bully a woman? Zhao Yang walked forward with a puzzled look on his face. They say that a man without hair on his lips cannot do things steadily. This yellow-haired man is too young. He does not have the energy to do things steadily. Zhao Yang thought as he walked slowly, looking up. Huang Mao became arrogant at this time. With a strong backer, he became excited. Xiao Cai, look at me. I'll show you what it means to be arrogant, said the yellow-haired man. You kid, stop pretending. How? I don't know if you will be struck by lightning if you act cool. But if you act cool, you might get beaten. You kid, can't you say something auspicious? You have a crow's mouth. Okay, I'll shut up. Huang Mao shook his head and walked towards the Yarn siblings. Yarn Suling is the protagonist today, and the key today is to capture Yarn Suling. As for Yarn Suzhong, he is no longer the protagonist at this time. Yarn Suzhong is just an ordinary guy. He doesn't have any special skills. He is just an ordinary person. Anyone who knows a little bit of Kung Fu can defeat Yarn Suzhong. Yarn Suling, looking into the distance. For a moment, Yarn Suling's eyes were filled with infinite excitement. Time is slipping away quietly. I don't bully women. You have to pay for the car fare today, said the yellow-haired man, looking at Yarn Suling. Huang Mao has a backer at this time, so he is not afraid. The people headed by Zhao Yang were gathering around Huang Mao and the others at this time. There were at least 40 to 50 people. These 40 or 50 people all had weapons in their hands. They were not steel pipes, but machetes or something like that. From the perspective of momentum, it is enough to reach the height of a movie. It is simply real. These people are all wearing the same clothes and have the same hairstyle. Just a little bit more flavor. What's the smell? I guess it's because there's no banner. If there is a banner, the effect will be even better. Why don't you speak? Wang Mao looked at Yarn Suling and said. Yarn Suling, at this time, did not speak. At this moment, Wang Mao was a little impatient. I'm talking, can't you hear me? You have to compensate for this car. Also, you can't interfere in Yarn Suzhong's affairs. This is the most basic thing, said the yellow-haired man. Noisy. Yarn Suling uttered 2 words lightly. This really annoyed Wang Mao. Wang Mao saw that Yarn Suling was a woman and didn't want to hit her. However, after hearing the noise, Wang Mao's mood became extremely bad. Noisy. In online novels, isn't this word often used by experts? No matter what, Wang Mao is in a very bad mood at the moment. At this time, Wang Mao was jumping and waving his fists towards Yarn Suling. Yarn Suling shook her head at this moment and kicked out directly. This kick directly kicked the yellow-haired guy away. The yellow-haired man flew 3 meters in the air and landed in front of Zhao Yan with a bang. Yellow-haired. How does this feel? Zhao Yan bent down and asked. I saw Wang Mao spitting blood. Wang Mao was shocked. He didn't expect that he would meet such a master. This master would say 2 words before beating someone up, noisy. Wang Mao, are you okay? It seems that today's incident is quite big. I thought that a woman would not cause such a big stir. Who knew that the commotion would be so big? Zhao Yan said. Zhao Yan slowly raised his head. At one moment, Zhao Yan made a decision. The woman in front of him was not a pushover. Since she was not a pushover, he would use special tactics to deal with her. Boss, Uncle Zhao, the opponent is not an ordinary person, said the yellow-haired man. Yes. Not just any ordinary person. She was ruthless, and when she attacked, she would say. What? Yellow hair, what will the other party say when he attacks? Boy, speak up. Noise, noise. Noise. Fuck you. Fuck you. Zhao Yang turned his head and said, brothers, kill them. How dare these little girls bully our Zhao family? Zhao Yan, very amazing. Zhao Yan was very angry. As Zhao Yan spoke, he slowly stood up. At this moment, the aura of Uncle Zhao of the Zhao family was fully unleashed. As Uncle Zhao of the Zhao family, Zhao Yang was not just a figurehead. Today, in front of Zhao Yang, the other party beat Wang Mao until he vomited blood and almost killed him. What was this about? When beating a dog, you also have to look at the owner. At this time, dealing with the yellow-haired man means beating Zhao Yang. Wang Mao's beating was the face of the Zhao family. He was beaten loudly. You have to know that Wang Mao did not represent himself, but Mr. Zhao Qian, Uncle Zhao Yang, and the Zhao family. Thinking of this, Zhao Yang wished he could deal with these people in front of him personally. Brothers, break their legs today. Zhao Yang roared. At this time, Chen Yingying took a step forward. Chen Yingying is not afraid of these people. These gangsters are just small gangsters. In Chen Yingying's opinion, these people are not to be feared. Behind Chen Yingying is the Chen family of Jiangshui City. The Chen family, as one of the 4 major families in Jiangshui City, is not a place where they just sit there and do nothing. Seeing this situation, Chen Yingying felt that it was time for her to step forward. As the princess of the Chen family, Chen Yingying did not need to do anything herself. She knew that she only needed to use the Chen family's reputation. Chen family's signature feature, Chen is strong. Yes, you read that right, the Chen family's signature character is Chen Qiang. Chen Qiang, who does he need? Among the 4 major families in Jiangcheng, the Chen family is second only to the Zhao family, and its head is Chen Qiang. Today's female supporting role Chen Yingying, her father is Chen Qiang. As Chen Qiang's beloved daughter, she is naturally well versed in the ways of the world. In today's matter, Zhao Yan, who is smart, would not offend the Chen family for a yellow-haired boy. Unless there is another hidden reason, Zhao Yan would do something irrational. Zhao family, Zhao Yan, known as Uncle Yang. You'd better tell your people to stop. Chen Yingyin said. I won't let you? Who are you? Zhao Yang was suspicious. For a moment, Chen Yingyin's temperament was very different. If Yang Suling carries the spirit of martial arts, then Chen Yingyin carries the air of wisdom and bookishness. Two different types of people. In Zhao Yang's opinion, Yang Suling is more feminine. I am Chen Yingyin from the Chen family. The daughter of Chen Qiang. Chen Yingyin said. Hearing about the Chen family, Zhao Yang laughed for a moment. What can I say? No wonder Miss Chen has such a tone. But I also told you today that even if your father Chen Qiang came, it would be useless. After hearing these words, Chen Yingyin stomped her feet in anger. My father arrived at Jiangshui City Airport on a cloudy day. I see you. Chen Yingyin said. Chapter 21, Ninth Brother Hides Well. Chen Yingyin's actions infected Yang Suling. This Chen Yingyin is really worthy of my brother's love. Although my ninth brother and Chen Yingyin are not together, she is very considerate. At this time, Yang Suling took a step forward. Yang Suling raised her arm and placed her hand on Chen Yingyin's arm. Yang Suling was very excited. It was very rare for Chen Yingyin to do this for Yang Suzhong. Zhu Di and Chen Yingyin were just first love, but the other party did such a thing. It's really amazing. Yang Suling was very grateful to her in her heart. Leave this to me. Yingyin, take my ninth brother away. Yang Suling said. Sister Suling, we won't leave. Chen Yingyin said. In the face of danger, Chen Yingyin is not the kind of person who would give up on her friends. Especially at this time, she couldn't let Chen Yingyin go alone, or let Chen Yingyin follow others to escape. Chen Yingyin was not the kind of person who was afraid of death. She knew from a young age that people should live a great life and die gloriously. Life is great. Even if you die, you should be glorious. At this moment, she was strong-willed and refused to leave. Who said, none of it is possible? Chen Yingyin, aren't you leaving? Yang Suzhong said. No. You're really not leaving. Yes. If you say you won't leave, then you won't leave. Chen Yingyin said. Well, all right. I'll accompany you, and let you see how my eighth sister fights. A series of negative emotions emerged above Chen Yingyin's head. It turns out that at this time, Chen Yingyin is the only one who doesn't know the plot. For a moment, Chen Yingyin glared at Yang Suzhong fiercely. Yang Suzhong, on the other hand, just smiled and said nothing. From childhood to adulthood, Yang Suzhong has never been afraid of anyone. Why? Yang Suzhong's 8 sisters were all very powerful characters. Whether outside or in school, as long as someone dared to bully Yang Suzhong, his sisters would take action. The result would definitely be that the other person would be beaten to a pulp. Today, Yang Suzhong still believed that his 8th sister would deal with these people without any suspense. 8th sister, come on. Beat them all down. It was this family, the Zhao family, who kidnapped me and Ba Tian. Yang Suzhong said. Are these bastards? They kidnapped you and Ba Tian. Yang Suling said. It's them. It's them. Not only did they kidnap Tian'er and me, they also beat us up severely. Look at the scar on my forehead. Yang Suzhong spoke with great emotion. Yang Suzhong seemed very excited. For Yang Suzhong, his anticipation and excitement suddenly surged. Now, he felt that he could avenge his previous humiliation. At this time, the person who came immediately approached Yang Suling. Those who were holding wooden sticks and steel pipes were all walking towards Yang Suling at this time. Yang Suling turned her head and looked at her brother Yang Suzhong. Suzhong, after taking your girlfriend to such a luxury car, don't let the blood splash on your girlfriend. Sister, you speak so nicely. Just promise that we will hide away. Yang Suzhong said. That's what fighting was like when we were kids. Whenever Yang Suling took action, she would ask her brother to hide aside. Not suitable for children. Children should avoid watching bloody scenes. One can tell at first glance that my 9th brother's first love, Chen Yingyin, is someone who has never seen the big world. Next, when Yang Suling uses violence, she might scare the other person. At this time, Yang Suzhong glanced at Chen Yingyin and said, well, then, let's go hide behind your luxury car. You. Chen Yingyin was angry. She didn't expect that Yang Suzhong would back down in the face of major issues. At this time, Yang Suzhong should have stepped forward, but he chose to retreat. I really don't know if it was because Yang Suling's sister spoiled Yang Suzhong, or what. Speechless. Yang Suzhong, on the other hand, looked nonchalant. He turned around and looked at his first love. Let's go, my sister can deal with those people. Yang Suzhong said. Are you okay? What's there to be embarrassed about? She's my biological sister, not an outsider. We've been fighting since we were little, and as long as my sister is around, I never. Never what? Chen Yingying followed Yang Suzhong unwillingly and walked towards the luxury car. As long as my eighth sister is here, there is no fight that cannot be resolved. As long as my sister is here, I never take action during a fight, and I never show my head. Me, what's wrong? A coward. Yang Suzhong was speechless. When fighting, if you don't show up or take action, how can you be considered a coward? I, Yang Suzhong, leave the opportunity to fight to others. But it was also very strange that the sisters of the Yang family were all very talented in fighting. However, when it came to Yang Suzhong, it was no longer possible. Yang Suzhong was too lazy to argue with Chen Yingying at this time. In short, with his eighth sister around, Yang Suzhong was not afraid of anything. Hiding behind the luxury car, Yang Suzhong took a look at the car. This is a limited edition luxury car, and the price should be around 1 million. Well. Yingying, would you like to discuss something with me? Yang Suzhong said. What? What to discuss? Chen Yingying said casually without looking at Yang Suzhong. How much is this car? 1,800,000. Wait a minute, my sister will deal with those people. You drive the car and take us to find my nephew. As long as I'm not going to see your son, it's fine. What are you talking about? I'm not married, so how can I have a son? Oh, it's good that we're not married. Chen Yingying continued to look into the distance and said calmly. In the distance, Yang Suling was dealing with those people. Anyone who got close to Yang Suling was kicked to the ground. Yang Suling didn't even need to make a move. She just used her toes to send out a stream of energy and knocked these people to the ground like flowing water. This posture really has a bit of the flavor of a female war goddess. At this time, Chen Yingying looked at Yang Suling without blinking. Sharp. For a moment, Chen Yingying actually began to admire Yang Suling very much. If she could have a sister like this, she would definitely be very proud. At this time, a man was seen waving and attacking Yang Suling from behind. This scene frightened Chen Yingying so much that she screamed loudly, "No! A sneak attack!" Who would have thought that at this moment, Yang Suling actually turned around slowly, stretched out 2 fingers, and clamped the machete swung by the other party. Good job! What is this trick? Isn't this move the one that has been legendary for a long time, snatching a sword with bare hands? Awesome! Awesome! For a moment, Chen Yingying stared blankly at where Yang Suling was fighting. None of these people in front of him were a match for Yang Suling. Yang Suling knocked down a large number of them in no time. At this moment, Yang Suling walked towards Zhao Yang with lotus steps. Along the way, those who tried to get close to Yang Suling had their weapons taken away and were knocked to the ground. There were screams on the ground. The seriously injured ones are already vomiting blood and have passed out. Chapter 22, Life depends on acting skills. Fighting can be divided into one-on-one and group fights. Why does this fight in front of me seem like a movie? At this moment, there was a simplicity in Yang Suling's eyes. There was only one person she wanted to deal with, Zhao Yang. To catch a thief, you must first catch the leader. Yang Suling was very clear about this principle. She walked towards Zhao Yang with lotus steps and a floating figure. Today, Zhao Yang was able to bring so many people to this place and say that he had done something to him, which meant that he had a certain level of strength. Since Zhao Yang had a certain level of strength, he should pay the price for his stupidity. Yang Suling, with one hand in her pocket, relied on her special gait and the use of one arm to walk forward several meters. Her figure was really too strange. The people Zhao Yang brought were no match. This woman is really too incredible, said a fat subordinate. I think so too. Why, otherwise, we won't go. After all, when something big happens, we are here to cheer, said the thin man beside the fat man. The fat man seemed to be thinking about something at this time. The fat man touched his pocket and rubbed the money in his pocket with his fat fingers. There were 3 bills in it. Brother, how much money did I give you when you came here today? 250, the thin man said, "What's wrong, brother?" "Nothing, nothing. Let's cheer them on from behind. Look how many people have fallen down. Later, when the other party swings his fist in our direction, we will pretend to fall down. This method is good. I have been looking for an opportunity to show my intelligence and talent. You are really amazing." In this way, you don't even need to show your intelligence and talent. Suddenly, the fat guy and the thin guy stopped talking. There is no shortage of smart people in this world, but some people are too smart. What kind of situation is this? Seeing that the other party is making a move, this is an opportunity. Yarn Suling was swinging her fist and hitting a man holding a steel pipe. At this time, the fat man's figure flashed alertly and fell down. Fortunately, the fat man fell to the ground in the same rhythm as the man holding the steel pipe. 250, why hasn't it fallen down yet, the fat man thought. The fat man was lying on the ground, and he glanced around with the corner of his eye. The people lying on the ground were all beaten up. The opponent was too strong. That's true, Yarn Suling is very powerful. She was so powerful that people couldn't tell what moves she used. They only knew her figure moving around, and she could knock down a large number of people with just one punch or one palm. At this moment, Yarn Suling looked around. Zhao Yang from the Zhao family is right in front of Yarn Suling. The two of them were 3 people apart. However, at this time, Yarn Suling actually stopped. What's the situation? For a moment, Zhao Yang felt that he couldn't understand her at all. The state of Yarn Suling in front of him was too confusing. Beautiful things make people excited. However, when Yarn Suling was about to subdue Zhao Yang, she stopped instantly. She actually did not make a move. It's really a bit hard to understand. At this moment, Xiao Cai was still by the wall. Xiao Cai did not participate in the fight. Xiao Cai Fengwei, as an ordinary driver of the Qian family, so ordinary that he is no longer so ordinary, naturally does not want to participate in the big events of the Zhao family. This is especially true when a group fight is taking place. For a moment, there was a look of confusion in Xiao Cai's eyes. So many people couldn't even beat a woman. If this got out, wouldn't it be ridiculous? It is more appropriate to solve the problem with fists if it can be solved with fists. At this moment, this is what Xiao Cai is thinking. Not far away, Xiao Cai was driving over. That car now seems to be scrapped. The car, which Xiao Cai thought was very luxurious, was smashed into the ground by the opponent's 2 fists. It was true that once a master made a move, you could tell whether he had any. This Yarn Suling is really too amazing, she is truly remarkable. In Xiao Cai's opinion, it was impossible for the other party to pay for the loss of the car. At present, there were only 2 ways to make up for the loss of the car. Either he could claim compensation through insurance or the Zhao family could claim compensation. In short, this car was an accident today. Oh! Poor little yellow-haired boy, poor Zhao Puyang, said Xiao Cai. At this time, Wang Mao had been beaten so badly that he was lost. Wang Mao was unconscious and lying on the ground. Xiao Cai thought, could Wang Mao be pretending? No matter how powerful the opponent was, he couldn't knock the yellow-haired man unconscious on the ground in one go, unable to get up. Although Xiao Cai had such thoughts in his mind, he still tried his best to keep a low profile. After all, at this time, talking less or staying far away is the safest way. Thinking of this, Xiao Cai tilted his body and fell down. Xiao Cai's fall was his own will. It is more or less beneficial to fall down on your own initiative and act cowardly. In a place full of big guys, how can the weak survive? There are always more solutions than problems, and being low-key is always better than pretending. Thinking of keeping a low profile for once, Xiao Cai quickly lay on the ground. For a moment, Xiao Cai's heart was still filled with endless beautiful feelings about life. I hope that this sudden battle will not affect me. When others are in trouble, Xiao Cai doesn't want to just sit back and watch. However, the current situation was really too weird for Xiao Cai. The opponent is too strong and Xiao Cai doesn't want to die. At this moment, Xiao Cai hopes that he can live his life in peace. Good things can make people excited. Lying on the ground, Xiao Cai's mind was filled with endless fantasies. Why is life so difficult sometimes? Zhao Yang was really scared. Seeing Yarn Suling approaching him step by step, Zhao Yang was so scared that he took 3 steps back. For Zhao Yang, he really didn't expect that he would meet a God of War level master today. It is said that the God of War can fight 100 at a time. Although the woman in front of me could not fight 100 at a time, she could defeat a large number of them by herself. You said, this woman in front of you is not the God of War. In Zhao Yang's eyes, she is the God of War. Yang Suling is the God of War. The other party is really, really, so powerful. Well, said Zhao Yang. However, at this time, Yang Suling did not speak. Sometimes, communication does not necessarily require words. A look can communicate. A gesture can communicate. You can even say that a secret code can also communicate. At this moment, the communication between Zhao Yang and Yang Suling seemed a little special. In fact, Zhao Yang's communication is a bit unique. Can we talk about today's matter for a while? Oh? I see that I have an extraordinary demeanor, not like an ordinary person. I have a murderous aura and an imposing manner. Is there any misunderstanding between us? Zhao Yang said. Strength is maintained by fists. Respect depends on ability. If you want to be respected, you must show the confidence and capital that make people respect you. At this moment, Zhao Yang's heart was extremely shocked. Because the evil spirit on the other party is very strong. Chapter 23, fortunately, he is not Zhao Qian's father. Yang Suling turned around and glanced at her brother. At this time, the ninth brother Yang Suzhong gave a thumbs up mischievously. Eighth sister, awesome. Eighth sister, so awesome. Eighth sister is awesome, eighth sister is the God of War. He is in his 30s, but he still looks like a child. This Yang Suzhong is really good in this mentality. What Yang Suzhong was expecting at this moment was simplicity. It could even be said that Yang Suzhong had no special feelings. Yang Suling looked at her brother and said, this is the person who kidnapped you. No. The one who kidnapped us is the young master of the Zhao family. Zhao Qian. Who is this? I don't know either. For a moment, Yang Suling wondered if she had hit the wrong person. There were so many people lying on the ground. Was I mistaken? Or what was going on? Forget it, the plot is wrong, so just follow the wrong one. Life in the world depends entirely on acting. Yang Suling turned her head, looked at Zhao Yang and said, is your last name Zhao? Yes. My last name is Zhao. My name is Yang. My name is Zhao Yang. Yang Suling stretched out her arms and a fist of energy flew out. Suddenly, the fist force knocked Zhao Yang back 3 steps. He could only hear the sound of a broken clavicle. Zhao Yang cried out, "Arr!" It was really too painful, and he felt extremely uncomfortable. A strong piercing pain came over him. Your surname is Zhao, so the person you deal with today should have the surname Zhao. Yang Suling said. My last name is Zhao, that's true. But I'm not Zhao Qian's father. I'm just his first distant cousin. We have nothing to do with each other. Zhao Yang said. It hurts. Sometimes, having the same surname is also wrong. Is it wrong to have the surname Zhao? Go to hell. That's not right. To be precise, it is wrong to have a scum like Zhao Qian in the family. For a moment, Zhao Yang could only hope that he would not be beaten to death. Yang Suling raised her arms at this moment, and then put them down again. Go back and tell Zhao Qian's family to meet at Zhao Qian's villa before 10 a.m. on a cloudy day. Otherwise, these lifeless people on the ground will be Zhao Qian's fate. Good. Zhao Yang was so scared that he trembled all over. At this time, Zhao Yang looked around and found that only 2 of the people he brought with him were not beaten. It seems that I am lucky not to die today. Thank you, hero, for sparing my life. Thank you, lady, for sparing my life. Zhao Yang said as he stepped back. Seeing that Yang Suling didn't say anything, Zhao Yang took it and ran away. If you leave too late, it will be difficult if the other party changes his mind. For a moment, Zhao Yang's heart was filled with endless fear. It could even be said that he was terrified. Usually, Zhao Yang is not afraid of anything. Zhao Yang, who is fearless, finally met someone important today. Rose. Poisonous rose, rose with steel thorns. Although roses are beautiful, they are very prickly. For a moment, Zhao Yan's heart was filled with. Zhao Yan, as he walked, felt fear in his heart. What is the name of today's incident? It really resulted in the loss of both soldiers and generals. Zhao Yan said. At this time, Liang Shu Road appeared. This guy was a little dizzy from drinking and was holding a bottle of wine in the corner. Usually, Zhao Yang is arrogant and domineering. Today, Zhao Yang and Liang Shudao seemed to have switched identities. Zhao Yang was no longer domineering, and Liang Shudao seemed free and at ease. In Zhao Yang's eyes, Liang Shudao was not a character at all. Now, it's all right, why does Liang Shudao look so comfortable? At this time, Zhao Yang had no intention of paying attention to the Liangshu Road, but was preparing to leave. Well, Uncle Zhao from the Zhao family. Where are you going at this time? Liang Shudao's voice sounded from behind. For a moment, Zhao Yang stopped. Normally, Zhao Yang doesn't like dealing with drunk people. They eat and drink to their heart's content, and use some foul language. It's fun to be with these people, but I also feel a little self-conscious. However, the appearance of Liang Shudao was an accident. For example, today, Zhao Yang feels that he needs someone like this in his life. In Zhao Yang's opinion, the existence of some people who eat and drink as much as they want is also a kind of beauty. At least, life is not that complicated. In addition, this life does not have so much pressure. Well, Liang Shudao. Where are you having fun so late at night? Said Uncle Zhao from the Zhao family. Liang Shudao stumbled up to Uncle Zhao Yang. Normally, I have never been able to have a heart-to-heart talk with this big guy. But I can meet him at this time and place. It really is a matter of time. For a moment, Liang Shudao was extremely shocked. Not only was he shocked, he was also extremely proud. Uncle Zhao from the Zhao family, I'm glad to see you. I'm glad to see you. Why, you don't seem very happy today. You figured it out. How did you figure it out? I see your forehead is black, I think you've run into some trouble. I see your brows are furrowed, I think you've run into a woman. I see. Liang Shudao spoke intermittently. Zhao Yang was speechless. This guy was quite capable. Zhao Yang didn't expect that Liang Shudao actually knew some strange things. It's true, real people never show their faces. No wonder this guy is holding a bottle of wine at night. It turns out that this guy only shows up at night. My goodness, this Liangshu Road is actually so deeply hidden. It really fits the saying, that is, what is it called? Things that cannot be seen in public must have some content. Well, Liang Shudao, I'd like to invite you for a couple of drinks. Do you want to go? Zhao Yan said. Go. Why not? Uncle Zhao from the Zhao family is treating me, how dare I not give Uncle Zhao face? However, I dare not drink too much today, I still have to go to the Zhao family, to report the news to Mr. Zhao Qian's father. Liang Shudao said. Liang Shudao, at this time, did not forget his own affairs. Liang Shudao naturally reported the crisis Zhao Qian encountered to Zhao Qian's father. In his words, it was to tip off. A matter, not too big or too small, in Liang Shudao's opinion, should be done in the early morning. At this time, no matter how urgent the matter is, he can't go. Here in Liangshu Road, no matter how big the matter is, it is nothing compared to drinking. What's going on? Liangshu Road. What's going on? What happened to Zhao Qian? Young Master Zhao, something big has happened. Big thing. What big thing could it be? Zhao Yang didn't know that Liang Shudao had been beaten up. He was already scared out of his wits and was extremely cautious. At this time, Liang Shudao looked around. There was a hint of caution in his eyes. Then, Liang Shudao said, the villa of the young master of the Zhao family was pushed to the wall by a woman with 10 tanks. A woman, what kind of woman looks like? Let's go, let's talk while drinking. Zhao Yang was getting excited. Zhao Yang, tonight, 50 brothers were beaten down. That Yarn Suling is definitely not her, she is a god. It's God. Yes, God of War. Where can we find such a powerful person? Unless it's the God of War. Chapter 24, Money Makes Men. Zhao Qian's villa was occupied. At this time, Zhao Yang was shocked to hear that Zhao Qian's villa was razed to the ground by a team led by a woman and tanks. Could it be that a group of female bandits came into Jiangshui city tonight? Now, we live in a peaceful and prosperous era, where are the bandits? Even if there are bandits, they can't drive tanks. Don't bandits ride horses? Uncle Zhao from the Zhao family, who had many questions in his mind, decided to treat Liang Shudao to a drink. Although Uncle Zhao of the Zhao family looked down upon Liang Shudao in the past, there was information about Liang Shudao. Liang Shudao's 2 words of Huang Lao's art spoke to Zhao Yang's heart. In addition, Liang Shudao revealed that Zhao Qian's crisis was caused by a woman. For a moment, Zhao Yang became even more curious. Curiosity kills the cat. Tonight, Liang Shudao got the chance to be treated to dinner by Zhao Yang. Although he was on the Liangshu road and had already drunk some wine and eaten a pig's trotter, he thought to himself, why not go if someone is inviting you? We must give face to Uncle Zhao of the Zhao family. You can refuse to give face to anyone else, but you cannot refuse to give face to the Zhao family. Not only should we give face to Uncle Zhao of the Zhao family, but we should also give it enough. Well, Uncle Zhao, let's not go to such a high-end restaurant today. It's okay if we spend 10,000 yuan. You can't lose face for your Uncle Zhao from the Zhao family. Going to a roadside stall is not in line with your status. You kid. Liang Shudao, your words really speak to my heart. It feels good to hear. Hee, Uncle Zhao from the Zhao family, let's just drink some cheap wine. It's not expensive. 8,080, a source wine, these bastards, the things in the hotel are always 800 more expensive than those outside. Money is not a problem. Money is not a problem. Let's go to the one in front and drink less. As they were talking, the 2 of them walked towards a restaurant in front. At this moment, Zhao Yang from the Zhao family discovered that his wallet was missing. I don't know, maybe he lost it because he was in a hurry, or maybe he left it in his office and never brought it with him. For a moment, Uncle Zhao from the Zhao family was confused. At this moment, Liang Shudao had already arrived at the entrance of the hotel. In his heart, he yearns for something high-end, classy. Well, Liang Shudao, we think this hotel is not up to standard. Come on, I'll take you to a more upscale place. Okay. Then I'll have to trouble Uncle Zhao from the Zhao family. Liang Shudao said. 2 people, walking one in front and one behind. Zhao Yang of the Zhao family took Liang Shudao to the market on Wenyuan Road and ate at a roadside stall. 2 people, a $10 bottle of white wine, and a plate of peanuts. The total cost was no more than 30 yuan. Liang Shudao paid for this. Snacks and drinks, pay first and consume later. A man with money is a real man, a man without money is a difficult man. Those who have money are real men. Moya country. Mo City, the central city of Moya Kingdom. This city is also known as the city that never sleeps because it is the central city and capital of the Moya Kingdom. The capital of the Moya Kingdom is known as the city that never sleeps, and it certainly deserves the name. For the young people in this city, the difference between day and night is not that big. During the day, people work under incandescent lights in concrete and steel buildings. At night, young workers also work hard to earn money under the incandescent lights of steel and concrete. The prosperity of a city is inseparable from the management of a certain future. Although it is in Mo City, because of its particularity, even the slightest disturbance in Jiangshui City can cause a storm here. A car with Moe taking photos was driving on the viaduct. Sitting in the back seat was an old man with a white beard. He was on vacation, but was notified to attend a meeting in the evening. Because of the special circumstances, he didn't have time to shave and looked nervous at the moment. The old man's name is Qiao Dahai and he is 63 years old. In his jurisdiction, the security has been stable in the past 2 years. For Qiao Dahai, life is good because he is about to retire. Life in the past was beautiful. Today's life is a bit stressful. Qiao Dahai, who was sitting in the back seat, frowned. He had received accurate intelligence that the masters of Wuwu sect were gathering towards Mo Ya country. The masters of Wuwu sect are gathering towards Moya Kingdom. This news is extremely important. It was precisely because the masters of Wuwu sect gathered towards Mo Ya Kingdom that he was urgently recalled for a meeting. The purpose of the meeting is, of course, very simple, to respond to this incident and make a decision. How far will this big event develop? Old man Qiao Dahai has no idea. As an experienced person, he knew very well that this time was of great significance. One could even describe it as having extraordinary significance. For a moment, he thought about fighting. Tired of heart. In an instant, he closed his eyes. Whenever something big happens, different people make different choices. Speaking accurately is the way to deal with a crisis, differently. The driver's voice sounded at this time. Sir. We will arrive at the headquarters in 10 minutes. Why don't we go directly to the headquarters or have breakfast? What time is it now? Xiao Dahai opened his eyes while speaking. Now, 6 o'clock. Let's go to Huyar Street and have a bowl of bean juice. Sir, will we make it in time? The driver asked tentatively. Whenever something big happens, our master Xiao Dahai always makes some surprising moves. At this time, instead of going to the Hutu Feiying headquarters, they went to Huyar Street to drink soy milk, which surprised the driver Xiao Shi for a moment. Although this little Shi was surprised, he did not show it. Xiao Shi has some experience in his mind, so he will naturally behave calmly. But he didn't show any special look. As a driver, he was used to the unreliability of the master. Okay. Let's turn left and enter Tiger Cliff Street. Let's have a bowl of bean juice to calm down. Then we can go to the meeting. Today's matter is quite serious. The driver, Xiao Shi, didn't say anything. He had seen times when Zun Yi was unreliable, but he had never heard from him that drinking a bowl of bean juice could help calm nerves. It really was, it shocked Xiao Shi's heart. He frowned, drove the car and turned left. An ordinary bedroom. Shi Fangxing stretched himself. Although he is thin, he doesn't look very energetic. Shi Fangxing, who is in charge of legal affairs in the tiger-headed Flying Eagle organization, is no ordinary person. Shi Fangxing is 60 years old and 1.7 meters tall. In the tiger-headed Flying Eagle organization, Shi Fangxing is a relatively calm and introverted guy. The pale sky in the east was pierced by the glow of the sunset. The morning glow, like a sharp blade, ruthlessly kills the sorrows and joys of this world. For this 60-year-old man, the meaning of life is stability. 2 words, play it safe. For a moment, Shi Fangxing sighed. It takes 5 minutes to get from his house to the meeting place. It was precisely because of this that he dared to delay a little longer. If it's far away, would he dare? Chapter 25, The 3 Giants of Moya Country. Woof. Woof woof. Woof. Woof woof, woof. After barking twice, let out a squeak. This dog is Shi Fangxing's dog. It's a black Shiba Inu named 5 years old this year. As the youngest gentleman in the family, is very vigilant. The strong men of Wuwu sect have sneaked into Moya country. What do you think? Shi Fangxing said to doesn't he speak, doesn't he bark? Looking at Shi Fangxing. Hey, which one? You can show some attitude. Jingning. Closed his mouth and made a jaying sound. Shi Fangxing saw that was silent. For a moment, Shi Fangxing was undecided. Today's meeting is very important. As one of the 3 giants of Moya country, Shi Fangxing is the representative of the high-level legal affairs, so he naturally has to express his attitude. This time, the Moya kingdom is facing a huge crisis due to the entry of strong men from the Wuwu sect. Was silent, but Shi Fangxing was a little. Express your opinion. Your attitude is very important. Woof. Barked. Shi Fangxing frowned at this time. Just as he was about to speak, the husky turned his head and took 3 steps back. Suddenly, Shi Fangxing understood, this is called retreat in order to advance. Okay. I understand. Goodbye. I'll bring you a bone at noon. Shi Fangxing said. After saying that, he left amidst 2 barks of the husky. The door slammed shut. He barked twice. What does that mean? Is it thank you? Shi Fangxing shook his head and said to himself. He usually rides a bicycle to the headquarters, but this time he chose to walk. For Shi Fangxing, walking allows him to think better. Shi Fangxing had to think carefully about what to say in today's meeting. 10 minutes later. Conference room, projector screen. A woman's voice then sounded. The Wuwu sect's special plane has arrived in Moya country. The personnel are Wu Liu, Zheng Dafei, Wuwu, Du Wei, Wu Sai, and Qin Muyang. The personnel already in Moya country are Wu Ba, Yi Mu, Wu Qi, Qin Xiaoqian, and the sect master Yang Suling. The person who operated the projector was a woman. Her name is Lin Xuening and she is 36 years old. Lin Xuening's current position is Mo Changjian's work secretary. While Lin Xuening was speaking, Mo Changjian, Xiao Dahai and Shi Fangxing did not speak. Mo Changjian, 67 years old, is very clear in his mind. At this time, whoever speaks first will be passive. Then, this. Xiaolin, who are the people in Jiangshui City now? At present, there are three, namely Wu Ba, Yi Mu, Wu Qi, Qin Xiaoqian, and the sect leader Yarn Suling. Anything else? There is another person who is quite special. Who is it? Shi Fanxing asked. Lin Shi. Lin Xuening said. As she spoke, she switched the mouse. Soon, a woman's head was shown on the slide. However, the note column of this woman caught Xiao Darhai's attention. While still savoring the delicious soy milk, he saw, Wumu Gate, number 42. This message is a bit special. What's so special about this Lin Shi? Xiao Darhai said. At this moment, Mo Changjian stood up. Mo Changjian walked towards the slide. The 67-year-old Mo Changjian was Qin Simu's boss. He was naturally aware of some of Lin Shi's affairs. This is Lin Shi. She was sent to Jiangshui City by the tiger-headed Flying Eagle organization in advance. The purpose is to grasp the movements of Wumu sect more quickly and in a timely manner. While Mo Changjian was speaking, he walked towards the projector. He was feeling a little excited. Although he is the oldest among the three, Mo Changjian is very enthusiastic when talking about work. Mo Changjian quickly stood in front of the projector and told everyone about Qin Simu's arrangements from the tiger-headed Flying Eagle organization. Shi Fanxing and Xiao Darhai listened carefully without saying anything. Because at this time, neither of them could get a word in. On the contrary, Shi Fanxing felt that Qin Simu of the tiger-headed Flying Eagle organization was okay. He had some foresight in his work. What is foresight? It means being able to think ahead of your boss and do something. So, is there any news at this time? However, time is so tight, there shouldn't be any news, said 63-year-old Xiao Darhai. For Xiao Darhai, what he expects in his heart is simplicity. It would be best if this matter could be resolved within Mo Changjian's ability. Well, let's first watch a video sent from the front, said Mo Changjian. At this time, a 15-second video starts playing. The video was shot in Jiangshui City. On the streets of Jiangshui City, the protagonist Yarn Suling smashed a good car into pieces with just 3 punches. How powerful is this Yarn Suling? A 15-second video is enough to explain the matter. This video was sent by Lin Shi. Shi Fanxing said. This is not it. This was obtained by the city's special guards from network surveillance, said Mo Changjian. Next, the video projection was turned off. Then there was silence for 3 seconds. The matter was urgent, so the meeting was held in the morning. To be more precise, it was held in the early morning. In short, no matter what it was like, for this Mo Changjian, his expectations were not very good. There was a calmness in Mo Changjian's eyes. Time is flowing slowly. How about I go make a cup of tea for you guys? Lin Xuening said. Her eyesight is extremely good. This Lin Xuening was no ordinary person. It could even be said that she knew exactly what these 3 people were thinking. What on earth made these people in front of him fall into silence? Lin Xuening knew very well that it was because this matter was very big. All the people from the Wumu sect have poured into the Moya country. This matter has risen to a very high level. It can even be said that it is not certain that a major war will break out. Lin Xuening, who was quick-witted and quick-handed, turned off the projector and prepared to find an excuse to leave this place with high energy. Lin Xuening's eyes were filled with endless excitement. Make 3 cups of green tea. Drinking a cup of green tea in the morning can clear your mind, said Shi Fanxing. Okay. Lin Xuening turned her head and said. She had a ponytail and was wearing a denim jacket. From the makeup point of view, she is definitely a thin woman. But deep down, she is a high-level fighter. Mo Changjian, at this moment, shifted his gaze away from Lin Xuening's butt. He asked Xiao Darhai, what do you think? Is my opinion important? We should listen to Shi Fanxing's opinion first. Shi Fanxing was speechless. In this meeting, I haven't even expressed my opinion yet, but I'm already the one being criticized. It really is, it leaves one speechless. Chapter 26, Yarn Suling, a descendant of a general. Well, Lao Shi, please speak for a moment. Or rather, express your opinion for a moment. My opinion is to understand the cause and effect of this matter. Why did all the members of the Wumu sect arrive in Jiangshui City, said Shi Fanxing. No matter how big the matter is, there is a reason. Shifangxing just wants to confirm what the situation is today. Yarn Suling's son was kidnapped by the Zhao family. Yarn Suling's brother was also kidnapped by the Zhao family, said Mo Chanjian. The Zhao family is a family from Jiangshui City. Speaking of the Zhao family, Shifangxing nodded. This time, it's the Zhao family's fault. The Zhao family is in a critical situation. Shifangxing said. Mo Chanjian looked grim. Mo Chanjian said, yes. If things go wrong, the Zhao family will be uprooted. It's possible. I know very well the Wuwu sect style of doing things, said Xiao Dahai. At this time, Xiao Dahai sighed. However, Xiao Dahai didn't say anything else. From the current conversation, Xiao Dahai already knew the attitudes of Mo Chanjian and Shifangxing. If there is no special reason, today's meeting will end with support for Wuwu men's Yarn Suling's approach. After years of working together, Xiao Dahai knew clearly which direction the matter would go. It is an affirmation in the heart and also a determination. Lin Xuaning walked out of the meeting room. She was holding a tray with 3 cups of tea on it. Green tea in clear glass cups. 7 parts tea, steaming. The door of the conference room was gently pushed open. She glanced at the 3 people in the meeting. It was obvious that no decision had been made at this time. Because judging from the atmosphere, it was still a bit tense. Although she was not a decision maker at the meeting, she knew that this incident was of great importance. Yarn Suling, the leader of Wuwu sect. What is Wuwu sect? The Wuwu sect is a godlike existence in the battlefield outside the domain. The fact that this incident caused such a big stir is enough to prove that Yarn Suling is a real character. They are both women, but sometimes the difference is very obvious. 3 of you, the tea is ready. Okay, thank you. Thanks. Thanks. The tense atmosphere eased a little. 2 minutes later, a decision was made. Xiao Dahai went to Jiangshui City. This decision was made after much discussion. On the one hand, Xiao Dahai had unique skills in communication. On the other hand, he was also worried that something might go wrong. Mo Chanjian, what if we can't reach an agreement? Xiao Dahai said. We are in the back, deploying troops and generals. You are in the front, conducting negotiations. Of course, we cannot let the other party feel that we have any intention or action to use force, said Mo Chanjian. These words made Xiao Dahai a little confused. Why should the other party not feel this? What does it mean? For a moment, Xiao Dahai was a little confused. Okay, let's do it, said Mo Chanjian. Are there any other arrangements in other aspects? Shifangxing said. Let's do this, take the fighter plane with you when you leave, said Mo Chanjian. Fighter plane, let's go together? The latest fighter jet, or what? Lin Xuaning had some doubts. However, she did not speak. In such occasions, it is better to speak less. 5 minutes later, the meeting ended. After the meeting, Shifangxing finally felt relieved. He picked up the teacup, then put it down again. This Yarn Suling doesn't have any special background. What kind of background? Shifangxing said. It really exists, said Mo Chanjian. He did know something about Yarn Suling's background, but it was not convenient to talk about it during the meeting, so he did not bring it up. Yarn Suling's family background is very decent. The Yarn family of Jiangshui City has been loyal and righteous for generations. The Yarn family has been in the military for generations, fighting for the Moya kingdom. Tell me about it. I really want to know what kind of background this Yarn Suling has. I hope this Yarn Suling doesn't have any signs of being unrighteous, said Xiao Dahai. Meeting ended. At this moment, the 3 big guys did not leave, but drank tea. Since the meeting was over, their conversation at this moment was naturally not part of the meeting. To some extent, Xiao Dahai's words were just a very ordinary communication between him and his 2 old teammates. For Xiao Dahai, his thoughts were extremely simple. If something could stir up trouble in Jiangshui City and alarm Mo City, then it must be a big deal. In this era, if something big could happen and explode in an instant, it was probably not done by a good person. Xiao Dahai still trusts the local people and believes that they have their own methods in the management of Jiangshui City. Deep down, Xiao Dahai still didn't think highly of Yarn Suling. There were many people who made trouble out of nothing, and there were also some people who had their reasons and evidence. But for Xiao Dahai, he thought that if he could know more about Yarn Suling, it would be very helpful for his mission to Jiangshui City. Don't fight often, think about it. Do you two still remember Mr. Yangdishan? Mo Changjian said lightly. Time passed in a flash, and decades of money were lost. Tiger-headed Flying Eagle Organization, Startup, Border Training Ground. At that time, Mo Changjian, Xiao Dahai, and Shi Fangxing were still students of the Tiger-headed Flying Eagle Organization. At that time, the three of them were not students in the same class. Despite this, among their teachers, there was a teacher named Yangdishan. The teacher has an active mind and a simple character. Mo Changjian fell into deep thought while speaking. Time flies, and in a blink of an eye, several decades have passed in the Tiger-headed Flying Eagle Organization. Now, Mo Changjian, Xiao Dahai, and Shi Fangxing are all old men who are about to enter their 70s. Rather than saying that they are working very hard in their positions that are about to retire, it is more accurate to say that at present, there is no one in the entire Moya country who can replace any of them. Mo Changjian is a very remarkable person because he values feelings very much. You mean, Mr. Yangdishan? Shi Fangxing said. Yes, it's Mr. Yangdishan. Mo Changjian said. She and Mr. Yangdishan are. She is Yangdishan's granddaughter. She is Yang Suling, the leader of Wuwu sect, said Mo Changjian. It's really too shocking. He really is the descendant of a military family. He really is the descendant of a military family. Qi Dahai said. At this time, Xiao Dahai's face was filled with shock. For a moment, Xiao Dahai's seriousness towards Yang Suling made a 180-degree turn. Yang Suling is really not an ordinary person. When Shi Fangxing heard that Yang Suling was Yangdishan's granddaughter, he was not shocked at all. Even for Shi Fangxing, he felt that Yang Suling's ability to establish the Wuwu sect was a display of her strength. As a descendant of a military family, Yang Suling once again made the Yang family a large family in Moya country. No, big family, that's a bit too low. The Yang family should be the most powerful family in the entire Moya country. The Yang family, where Yang Suling belongs, should be a family of loyal heroes. Chapter 27, Special Plane arrives in Mo City. The sound of footsteps was heard. The door of the conference room was pushed open again, and Lin Xuening walked in. Lin Xuening held a piece of paper in her hand. Because it was upside down, she couldn't see what was on the paper. Is there anything wrong? We don't need to add water, right? Mo Changjian said. No need. I don't want to drink anymore. A cup of tea is just right, said Shi Fangxing. Shi Fangxing and Mo Changjian turned their eyes to Xiao Dahai. Xiao Dahai waved his hands hurriedly. I can do it too. Lin Xuening, I'm not here to add more tea. Instead, a picture was sent from Jiangshui City. She wanted to hand this picture to Mo Changjian. Sir, please take a look at this photo. Lin Xuening said. Okay. Mo Changjian took the paper. As soon as he saw the picture on the paper, he was instantly furious. He angrily slapped the table. All the anger in his heart was concentrated in this palm. I saw that a crack slowly appeared at the bottom of the 3 glass cups. Old Chan, what's the matter? Why are you so shocked? Shi Fangxing took the paper. I won't be angry if I don't look at it, but I'll be shocked when I do. It seems that the sky of Jiangshui City is about to change. This time, it is not Yang Suling who is causing trouble for Jiangshui City, but the big families and aristocratic families in Jiangshui City are destroying themselves. It's your own fault. Airport, Mo City, Moya Country. Leng Mianyang's private plane from Saching in Langtu Kingdom received news from the tower that it was allowed to land. At this time, the captain pressed the button to prepare for landing. At the back of the cabin, in the food storage area, the flight attendant who was applying lipstick immediately stood up. I saw her take off the intercom device from her waist and press the vibrate button. Ladies and gentlemen, hello. This flight is about to land at the Mo City Airport in Moya. Passengers, please prepare to get off the plane, and maintenance personnel, please make preparations before landing. I am the flight attendant of this flight. A professional announcer made a broadcast before landing. Obviously, at this time, for this cold-faced yarn, his mood was a little better. Arriving at the Morching Airport meant that they would soon arrive at Jiangshui City. I came here on a special plane this time, and I hope everything goes well after I get off the plane. Miss Stewardess, shouted Ling Mianyang. What's the matter, sir? The stewardess came over and said. She was over 1.75 meters tall, wearing a pair of sneakers, a denim jacket, and a business suit. She looks very elegant. Unique temperament comes from inner knowledge and experience. Leng Mianyang was attracted by the stewardess's temperament at this moment, and for a moment, he forgot what he wanted to ask. "Sir, is there anything I can help you with?" "The plane is about to land, which may cause slight discomfort," said the flight attendant. She has a sweet voice and a professional smile. The key point is that she was talking with her hands on her lower abdomen. "Oh, well. I was a little excited for a moment and forgot what I was doing." "Well, you go ahead and do your work." Okay, sir. "It's estimated that you will be able to get off the plane in 5 minutes," said the flight attendant. Thank you. As he spoke, Leng Mianyang took out his cell phone from his pocket. There was a sense of casualness in Leng Mianyang's eyes. He was about to check his phone to see what plans he had for after getting off the plane. "Sir, your cell phone cannot be turned on now. For safety reasons, the phone needs to be turned off or in airplane mode at this time." The flight attendant stepped in to stop Leng Mianyang's actions. Leng Mianyang, at this time, had a calm face. He slowly put down his phone. Then, Leng Mianyang looked at the beautiful stewardess in a funny way. He put his phone on the chair next to him. "Is this okay?" "Thank you for your cooperation, sir. Your safety is very important. For your safety, you also need to comply with aircraft takeoff and landing regulations and turn off your cell phone or put it in airplane mode." "Okay. I will cooperate with your work. I didn't have a meal on the plane today. Can you pack some food for me to take off the plane?" Leng Mianyang said. This was a bit surprising to the flight attendant. To be precise, it filled the stewardess's heart with curiosity. Such a rich man actually needs food. No place to eat after getting off the plane? Really, it's a bit confusing. Although a little confused, the flight attendant decided to meet the customer's needs. The customer is God. "Okay, sir. I'll pack you a bread and milk meal right away. Is one meal enough?" "One portion will be enough. I have to rush to Jiangshui City right after I get off the bus. I won't be hungry on the plane. Bring one portion with you and eat it on the way." The flight attendant nodded without saying anything and turned to leave. It seems that the life of this rich man is not easy. This cold-faced man in front of me had the money to come here on a special plane, but he had no time to eat. It can even be said that he didn't have a peaceful time to sit down and have a peaceful meal. In the eyes of this flight attendant, she instantly felt that her profession still had some benefits. Perhaps this is the difference between people. The plane's tires slid along the ground and moved forward. At this time, Leng Mianyang was a little excited. Finally, he arrived at the Moya Kingdom. Moya Country, Jiangshui City, is where Leng Mianyang is going this time. Airport, parking lot. A luxury MPV is in the parking lot on the second floor below ground. "Boss, we should go to the exit to pick someone up. Has Wusan Leng Mianyang's private plane arrived?" "According to the information sent by the airport, we have arrived." "Okay. Let's go to the exit to pick up Wusan." This time, the 10 great guardians of Wuwu sect have gathered in Jiangshui City. Not to mention a small family, even the tiger-headed Flying Eagle organization of Moya Country will be shocked. 7 o'clock in the morning. This time is neither early nor late. At one moment, Liang Shudao and Zhao Yang came to the mansion on Zhangjiagang one after another. Zhao Qing, 50 years old. When he chooses the location of the house, he has to choose a post. This is his obsession in his heart. In the yard, Zhao Yang and Liang Shudao were standing there. "Uncle Zhao Jiayang, look at this place, the terrain is quite high. I haven't noticed it before. What's the use of being high? This terrain is not suitable for cooking. Isn't the Zhang family in crisis now?" Yes. What Uncle Zhao said is right. That's right. These Koreans really have some background. They can drive a tank, so they must have some skills. What do you think? Yes. It is exactly as Uncle Zhao said. Liang Shudao said. He is from Liang Shudao, and is a smart and cunning man. Liang Shudao knew that it would be best to go along with Zhao Yang and. Today, I informed Zhao Qian's father of the news, and fortunately I met Zhao Yang. Zhao Yang was also ambushed by Yang Suling. Now, Zhao Yang must be very angry with Yang Suling. Thinking of this, Liang Shudao felt that he didn't need to do anything about today's tip-off. After all, with Zhao Yan, who was injured and suffered a loss, there was nothing else for him to do. Thinking of this, Liang Shudao turned around and looked at the door. At this time, the butler came over here. It seemed that we could go in. At this moment, in Mr. Zhao Qian's villa, Zhao Qian had been in the dog shed for 6 hours. God knows how long he will stay. Yes, God knows.